After the divorce, I live with the beautiful CEO. Ex-wife, why are you in anger? After 3 years of silent dedication for love, Ye Wushang got only a divorce agreement. His ex-wife thought he was poor and incompetent. Now that she is powerful, she doesn't want to have anything to do with this loser. But she didn't know that everything she has today was given by him. When Ye Wushang signed the divorce agreement, his multiple identities were exposed one after another. After learning the truth, his ex-wife and family regretted it and knelt down crying and begging for forgiveness. Chapter 1, You Don't Deserve Her. At the entrance of the banquet hall in Di Lin Hotel. Get out. Just as Ye Wushang was about to enter, his assistant Xu Wei shoved him out. Ye Wushang, hurry up and sign the divorce agreement. Looking at the document she handed him, Ye Wushang was completely confused. Divorce? What do you mean? The literal meaning. I'm officially notifying you now. Your marriage with President Lan is over. For her, even if you only have the title of husband, it's a disgrace. Xu Wei's tone was icy, and the reverence from the past had completely vanished. Disgrace. Ye Wushang's face grew dim. Did she say that? When they first got married, the Lan family was still a small, struggling household, on the verge of bankruptcy. It was him who used his resources to help the Lan family get through their financial troubles and even help them rise to prominence in Jinghan. Wealth. Status. Everything was in place. He thought that with all of this, they could live happily together. But now, she wanted to divorce him. Does it matter who said it? Xu Wei sneered and opened the door, pointing toward the stage. A graceful woman was giving a speech at the Group S listing celebration. Look at her. The youngest CEO of a listed company in Jinghan's history. At such a young age, she is worth billions and has expanded her business from Jinghan to the provincial capital. At this point, she looked at Ye Wushang with disdain, and you? You're just a stay-at-home husband who cooks and does laundry. A pathetic loser who even has to ask his wife for money to buy groceries. You don't deserve her. Ye Wushang's body trembled, almost unable to stand. 3 years of effort, and this is all he gets, a single remark that he doesn't deserve her. I'm not signing. Ye Wushang took a deep breath, forcing down his anger. Even if we're divorcing, I want to talk to her face to face. Stop pretending. You just want money, don't you? Xu Wei mocked him, then pulled a few items from her bag and threw them at him. Here, the property deed, the car keys, and this card with 10 million inside. All of this is yours, as long as you sign the papers. Ye Wushang sighed and shook his head. Not everything can be solved with money. I'm done talking to you. I'll go in and find her myself. Just as he reached for the door handle, it suddenly creaked open, and a woman stepped out. She was breathtakingly beautiful, dressed in a purple-black long gown, her figure full of charm and grace. Finally willing to come out. Ye Wushang's heart stirred as he gazed at the stunning woman before him. 3 years of marriage, though not perfect, had been relatively harmonious. He had even dreamed of growing old together. But how had things come to this? I just went to the restroom. I have to go back soon. Lan Ruoshua glanced at Ye Wushang, her expression indifferent. Her cold tone felt like they were strangers. President Lan, you're such a busy person that even getting a divorce requires someone else to handle it for you. Ye Wushang's face was bitter. Looking at his dejected expression, Lan Ruoshua's face flickered with a hint of emotion, but soon her resolve hardened. We don't have much time. Let us get down to business. Ye Wushang, we are now people from 2 different worlds. Our statuses don't match, and we don't even have common topics to talk about anymore. Though it's hard to say, this is the reality. Please stop dragging me down like a burden. Is that okay? Ye Wushang's breath caught in his throat. He didn't expect that in her eyes. He was just a burden. He was about to speak when she suddenly picked up the scattered items on the floor and stuffed them into his arms. Don't be embarrassed. Just take them. Consider this your part of the settlement. You don't have the ability to make money, so with this, you'll never have to worry about money for the rest of your life. Let us part on good terms, okay? Ye Wushang bitterly smiled. Good terms. He didn't take the items but looked at her in disappointment. Do you really think marriage can be measured by money? Lan Ruoshua didn't answer. Instead, a complex emotion flashed across her eyes. She took a blank check from her bag and handed it to him. If you think this is too little, you can fill in any amount you want. I don't want money. Ye Wushang pushed the check aside, his voice serious. What I want is an explanation. Is it really that easy to just say, let us divorce? Does money really matter that much? Lan Ruoshua didn't respond. She simply nodded. At least for me, it does. But you have billions. Don't you have enough money? Lan Ruoshua sighed. Looking at Ye Wushang, her face was filled with disappointment as she bitterly said, you're still obsessed with money. It seems like divorcing you was the right decision. To her, it wasn't just about the gap in wealth. It was the mental and emotional distance that had grown between them. 3 years had passed, and her company had gone public, but he was still the same unambitious stay-at-home husband. She could see no future in him. Ruoshua, Ye Wushang gazed at her resolute expression, but his words faltered. He knew she was determined to divorce him. But he didn't understand. After a moment of silence, he couldn't help but ask, Ruoshua, tell me, is it because of that young master from the Sun family? Heh. At this point, he was still looking for other reasons. They were no longer on the same page. She didn't even bother to explain. If you want to think that way, go ahead. Fine, I agree to the divorce. But before you sign, you need to return the workshop to me. It was my mother's inheritance. She said only my daughter-in-law was entitled to use it. After her father went missing, her mother had relied on the workshop to support them. It wasn't large, but it was located in the city center, and it was worth a lot. More importantly, it was her way of remembering her mother. She had to get it back. The workshop. Lan Ruoshua frowned slightly. Xu Wei was about to speak but was stopped by Lan Ruoshua, who handed the key to Ye Wushang. Here's the key. I'll clear the inventory within 3 days. After that, the property will be returned to you. Good. Ye Wushang quickly signed the papers. All cleared. Lan Ruoshua, from now on, we have no more ties. After saying that, Ye Wushang turned and walked away, not looking back. Xu Wei quickly informed Rushuang. Tell her not to touch that workshop. Lan Ruoshua ordered, although she likes that land, since I'm divorced from Ye Wushang, the workshop is. President Lan, Xu Wei interrupted, looking puzzled. Forgive me for speaking frankly, if Miss Rushuang likes it, why not just give it to her? That waste of space lived off the Lan family for 3 years. What's the big deal with him getting a workshop? I promised him, and I'll keep my word. Lan Ruoshua snapped angrily. Watching Ye Wushang's figure disappear into the distance, she felt a sudden emptiness in her heart. For some reason, before the divorce, she had eagerly awaited it. But now that it was done, she felt nothing but a strange sense of guilt. Chapter 2, The Little Sister-in-Law Who Turns Her Face. Ye Wushang sat on the street, staring at the key in his hand, unable to suppress his self-mockery. Mom, I'm all alone again. 8 years ago, his father went missing, leaving him and his mother to rely on each other. 5 years ago, his mother passed away, leaving him to live on his own. It was only 3 years ago that he met Lan Ruoshua and got married, giving him a family once more. He once thought that happiness meant a peaceful family, living harmoniously, and being healthy and safe. But now, it seemed everything had been his own delusion. What she wanted was far more than he had imagined. Cough cough. His chest tightened, and he couldn't help but cough. He wiped his hand, and it was covered in blood. The condition has worsened again. Ye Wushang sighed in frustration. In the 3 years of marriage, he had sacrificed time from his alchemy to maintain his small family. But in the end, all he got was a divorce agreement. TCH. Suddenly, the sound of rapid braking filled the air, and dozens of black cars came to a halt. Mr. Yi, congratulations on your wife's company going public. A distinguished middle-aged man walked briskly in front of Ye Wushang, respectfully saying, This is a gift for Mrs. Yi. Please accept it. His name was Xing Changchun, the head of the Xing family, one of the 4 major financial conglomerates in Jinghan City. He had spent a month preparing this gift, hoping to win Ye Wushang's favor. But upon seeing the gift, Ye Wushang's expression darkened, and he shook his head, saying, Thank you, Mr. Sheng, but I don't need it anymore. Huh. Xing Changchun frowned. With his vast experience, he immediately noticed Ye Wushang's unusual expression. He quickly ordered his men to take the gift back, but the words he had wanted to say were swallowed back down. Mr. Sheng, if you have something to say, just speak your mind. Noticing Xing Changchun's intentions, Ye Wushang said indifferently. Xing Changchun looked awkward and carefully said, Mr. Yi, to be honest, I have an elder brother who has been seriously ill lately. He has seen many famous doctors, both domestic and foreign, but his condition hasn't improved. I know you are highly skilled in medicine, so I wanted to ask if you could help him. No. Ye Wushang flatly refused. I have my own principles. I understand your principles. Xing Changchun nodded, then pulled out a photo from his pocket and handed it to Ye Wushang. Mr. Yi, take a look. Is this the Hanlong herb you asked me to help you find? Ye Wushang raised an eyebrow. In the photo, a small, colorful plant nestled in the cracks of a stone, its top heavy, the stem curling like a pterosaur standing in the wind. Although small, its aura was overwhelming. Where did you get this photo? Ye Wushang asked, trying to suppress his excitement. It's from my elder brother. Seeing Ye Wushang's interest, Xing Changchun seized the moment and continued, this Hanlong herb grows beneath the artificial mountain in his medicinal garden. He said, if you can cure him, this Hanlong herb will be his payment for your medical services. What do you think? Ye Wushang froze, his eyes locking onto the vivid Hanlong herb. The Hanlong herb was one of the 5 sacred herbs that could cure serious ailments. After years of searching, he had only found 2 of them so far. If he could get his hands on this one, although it couldn't directly be turned into the soul revival pill that could cure his condition, with his cultivation level, he could at least create blood vitality pills that would stabilize his condition. If he could consume it, it would extend his life by 10 years. And with that extra time, he could extract toxins from his own blood and uncover clues about his father's disappearance years ago. Deal. Ye Wushang agreed without hesitation. Tell me the address, and I'll personally visit. Even though Lan Ruoshua had returned the keys to him, he still wanted to go see the small workshop first. Sure, Mr. Yi. Seeing Ye Wushang agree, Xing Changchun was overjoyed and quickly added, there's an old castle on the outskirts of the city. Once you show your identity, someone will take you inside. Binjiang Street was the most prosperous street in Jinghan City, and the workshop was located right in the center of the district. At 9 in the evening, the street was bustling, filled with people talking and laughing. When Ye Wushang arrived at the workshop's entrance, he found that a crowd had gathered, pointing and whispering. Ye Wushang furrowed his brows and pushed his way through the crowd, stepping inside. Miss Lan, everything is ready. We can start the demolition anytime. In front of the workshop, 5 excavators were lined up, ready for action. One of the drivers shouted down below. Among the crowd, a beautiful woman dressed in a V-neck miniskirt nodded, saying, all right, start tearing it down. Long Ji has brought the decorators, so once the workshop is demolished, we'll immediately turn it into a beauty salon. Saying that, she linked arms with a young man in a suit, radiating confidence and sweetness. Ye Wushang's expression darkened. The woman was Lan Ruoshua's younger sister, Lan Rushuang. The man was Sun Chuanlong, the heir of the second-rate Sun family in Jinghan City, and also Lan Rushuang's current boyfriend. He never expected that Lan Ruoshua, after agreeing to return the workshop to him, would send her sister to tear it down right away. Was she really going to go back on her word so quickly? Stop! As the excavators started moving, Ye Wushang shouted loudly and immediately stepped forward to stop them. This workshop is mine. I haven't agreed to this demolition, who dares to touch it? Ye Wushang glared fiercely at the 5 drivers, his voice harsh. The 5 drivers were stunned, looking at Lan Rushuang with confusion. After a brief moment of shock, Lan Rushuang regained her composure and walked up with Sun Chuanlong. Rushuang, what's going on here? Don't you know this workshop was a relic left by my mother? Ye Wushang asked, confused, as he looked at Lan Rushuang. But Lan Rushuang avoided the question and asked, tell me, did you and my sister really get a divorce? Huh. Ye Wushang frowned. He had only just learned that Lan Ruoshua wanted a divorce. How did she know? Yeah, we're divorced. He nodded and bitterly replied, it's not her fault, we probably just wanted different things. TCH. Lan Rushuang curled her lips in disdain. Who's blaming my sister? Honestly, you two should be divorced long ago. A useless good-for-nothing who only knows how to cook and wash clothes. Even raising a dog would be better than having you around. Ye Wushang nearly lost his balance. His once doting younger sister-in-law had turned into someone who spoke to him with such disdain. Before he could speak, Lan Rushuang suddenly pulled out a document from her bag, flipping to the 6th page, and snapped, "Open your eyes," and read clearly. "The agreement says the house and car belong to you, but the workshop wasn't included. Also, my sister gave the workshop to me when we were married. So, how I deal with it is none of your business." Boom. Looking at the exact same content on the divorce agreement, Ye Wushang felt as though he had been struck by a thunderbolt. He stared at her in disbelief and asked, "Rushuang, how do you have this divorce agreement?" "Obviously, I drafted it for my sister. How could I not know?" Lan Rushuang rolled her eyes at Ye Wushang, mocking, "I knew you were going to make a fuss about it. When we were drafting the property division, I specifically made a note of this point. Now my sister gave you the house, the car, and $1 million, right? You've taken so much, and you still want the workshop. Can't you have some self-respect?" Ye Wushang was speechless. In these 3 years, he truly thought of them as family, always considering their best interests. But now, he was nothing but a useless fool in their eyes. The most ridiculous part was that even the divorce agreement between him and Lan Ruoshue was drafted by her. "You're mistaken. Yes, my sister gave me those things, but I didn't want any of it." "Bullshit." Lan Rushuang raised her voice and sneered, "Who would leave behind something worth tens of millions? Are you trying to fool a 3-year-old? Sun Chuanlong pushed Ye Wushang and said sternly, "Yi, don't push your luck. If you keep causing trouble, do you think I won't deal with you?" Ye Wushang's face darkened, and he suppressed his anger. "I'm not lying. If you don't believe me, you can call Ruoshue. Don't drag my sister into this. I am not buying it. Since you two are already divorced, let us go according to the divorce agreement. The property is yours, but the workshop is mine. I'll do whatever I want with it." After speaking, Lan Rushuang exchanged a look with Sun Chuanlong. Sun Chuanlong immediately understood, wrapping his arm around her waist and calling to the drivers, "What are you waiting for? Start working. Within half an hour, tear this workshop down, not a single brick left standing." Chapter 3: Who Dares to Touch Him? Okay. The drivers nodded and said nothing. When they were about to climb onto the excavator, Ye Wushang suddenly rushed up and pulled them down one by one. "This workshop is mine. Who dares to demolish it if I don't agree?" Looking at his cannibalistic eyes, the drivers were so scared that they dared not act rashly. "Waste, I gave you face, right?" Sun Chuanlong's face was stern. He snatched the key from a driver and quickly climbed into the cab of a nearby excavator. "In Jianghan City, there is nothing that I, Sun Chuanlong, can't do. Waste, today I will raze this broken workshop to the ground in front of you. If you have the guts, try to touch me." After saying that, he directly inserted the key into the slot and was about to start the excavator. Ye Wushang's face suddenly sank. Without thinking, he jumped up and grabbed his hand before the other party made a move. "Give me the key!" Ye Wushang shouted, and with his strength, he made Sun Chuanlong grimace and yelled, "Waste, let me go! You dare to attack me, are you tired of living?" His hand bones crackled, and he felt that his hand was about to be crushed. But Ye Wushang was unmoved and said coldly, "I'll say it one last time, give me the key. Is this guy crazy? He actually dared to attack young Master Sun. That's young Master Sun, the young master of the second-rate family. Who gave him the courage? If the Sun family stamps their feet, Jinghan will tremble 3 times. He dares to challenge young Master Sunday. He is looking for death." Seeing this, the onlookers couldn't help but take a breath of cold air, and they all laughed at him. "Give it to your mother." Sun Chuanlong was even more furious. He roared and waved his left hand over. With so many people watching, how could he still face people if he was frightened by a loser? Soon, he grabbed the key with his left hand and twisted it left and right. With a roar, the front claws of the excavator grabbed the 2 pillars in front of the door. Crack! Crack! 2 crisp sounds. The 2 pillars broke instantly, and their whole workshop collapsed directly. "Asshole!" Ye Wushang roared wildly, shocking. This workshop is the only relic left to him by his mother. How dare he? Really demolished it in front of him. "Get out of my way." Without saying anything, Ye Wushang immediately grabbed Sun Chuanlong's clothes with both hands and threw him out. Puff! Falling heavily to the ground, Sun Chuanlong couldn't help but groan, and blood gushed out of his mouth. wandering on the ground, unable to get up. Brother Long. Lan Rushuang was shocked and hurried forward to support him. How are you? Don't scare me. Don't touch me. It hurts me to death. Sun Chuanlong was in so much pain that he couldn't even sit up. He just gasped for breath to relieve the pain. Bang. Just then, Ye Wushang, who had pulled out the key, landed gracefully and walked towards Sun Chuanlong. Waste, are you crazy? How dare you beat Brother Long in public? Lan Rushuang looked up and glared at Ye Wushang, still frightened. To be honest, the sudden outburst of this waste just now really scared her. In the past, he couldn't hold back a fart for a long time at home, but he didn't expect that he was so good at it and took care of Sun Chuanlong in no time. He really didn't show his strength. With such a serious tendency of violence, if he were to be with his sister again, who knows what big things would happen. It seems that persuading my sister to divorce him was a wise decision. Asshole. Soon, Ye Wushang came closer. Ignoring Lan Rushuang, he stared at Sun Chuanlong with his eyes spitting fire, and shouted, "This workshop is the relic my mother left me. It is the most important thing in my life, but you almost destroyed it. Since your parents didn't teach you how to be a man, then I will teach you for your parents." As he said, he picked up Sun Chuanlong, and when he was about to do it, Lan Rushuang subconsciously grabbed his arm and scolded. "Waste, do you know what Brother Long's identity is? You still want to teach him how to be a man, do you want to die? I order you now, immediately. Right now. Kneel down and apologize to Brother Long. If he doesn't forgive you, not to mention that you can't save this broken workshop, even your dog life will have to stay here." Hearing this, Ye Wushang was stunned. He never expected that the sister-in-law, whom he once regarded as his own sister, would now scold him like this for an outsider. Moreover, she called him a waste and said that the workshop belonged to her. She was so cruel. I was really blind to think that they were a family. Get lost. Ye Wushang roared wildly, like a huge bell, deafening. Lan Rushuang was so scared that she stepped back 2 steps and dared not speak again. It was so scary. It seemed like she wanted to eat people. Why didn't she realize that this waste was so scary before? Bang 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 bang. Just then, Ye Wushang, who was furious, used his fists and feet to attack Sun Chuanlong one after another. There were repeated crisp sounds, screams, and saliva and blood mixed together. In less than a few minutes, Sun Chuanlong was beaten black and blue, and vomited 3 liters of blood. When he fell to the ground, he was like a dead dog, trembling. Ye Wushang did not intend to stop, but his eyes were stern, and he actually had murderous intent. When he picked up the stick on the ground and was about to swing it down, Lan Rushuang, who had come to her senses, could no longer hold back. "Murder! Come quickly!" she shouted like a shrew. Although the onlookers were angry, Ye Wushang was now like a ferocious beast, and no one dared to provoke him. What's going on? Who killed someone? Just at this moment, a security patrol team consisting of more than a dozen people hurried over. When he saw Sun Chuanlong lying on the ground, the leading captain was stunned. "Isn't this young Master Sun? Why are you here and beaten like this?" He knew Sun Chuanlong. But it was only a one-time encounter. He was just a small captain of a local patrol, and the other party was the young master of a second-rate family. He had always wanted to curry favor with the other party to get promoted, but he had no chance to make friends. "Captain Yang." Sun Chuanlong opened his eyes. When he saw the man, he grabbed a life-saving straw and shouted with all his might. "Quick, catch this bastard. He just beat me and now he wants to kill me. This is murder. Catch him and shoot him." I heard it. Captain Yarn glanced at Ye Wushang. He looked calm on the surface, but he was already very happy in his heart. It's really a pain in the ass to find. Obviously, this kid is just a fool and doesn't know how powerful Sun Chuanlong is. He beat people in public and wanted to kill people. As a patrolman, it's reasonable for me to catch him. The key is that I can win the favor of Sun Chuanlong. As long as I save him, he will definitely repay me. At that time, as long as the Sun family whispers in the patrol room, I can be promoted immediately. It's outrageous. How dare they commit murder in broad daylight? Come on, arrest him. At Captain Yang's command, several team members immediately came up. Ye Wushang also looked stern and took a stance. Just as he was about to fight, a cry suddenly rang out. "Who dares to touch Mr. Yi?" Everyone was stunned. They all turned their heads and saw a woman suddenly walk out of a luxury car that had stopped suddenly. The woman had a beautiful face and a curvy figure. She was wearing a black long skirt, which set off her hot figure to the fullest. At the same time, more than a dozen handsome bodyguards in suits and leather shoes quickly ran down from the other cars. They followed the woman and ran towards this side. The woman had an extraordinary temperament. Even with her flaming red lips, she did not have any taste of vulgarity. The sun was scorching. A beauty on earth. It seemed like the most perfect work of the Creator, which was breathtaking. Superb! Many men exclaimed. But the woman ignored the fiery gazes around her, but came directly to Ye Wushang, bowed 90 degrees, and said respectfully, "I'm sorry, Mr. Ye, I'm late and frightened you." Ye Wushang frowned, and although the murderous aura in his eyes slowly faded, it only added a hint of confusion. "You are." "Hello, Mr. Ye, my name is Lan, and I came here specially to ask you to treat my grandfather. Master Xing said that you will visit in person later, but my grandfather just got sick again and the situation is critical, so I can only come here specially to ask you." Chapter 4. It's wrong to hit people. When they heard the woman's name, they were all stunned. Lan. But is it the rich daughter of the Chaebol family who has settled down here? Why is it this lady, and why is she so respectful to this loser? Everyone looked at each other in awe. As everyone knows, the Yin family was once just a small and insignificant family. But since Lan took over, the market value of Yin Group has increased 20 times in just 3 years. In an instant, the Yin family was brought to the top of the Chaebol family. People joked that she was a woman that even God couldn't get. In addition to her outstanding business management ability, what is more important is her stunning appearance. Not to mention men, even women would feel ashamed when they see her and they cannot be compared with her at all. "Yeah, I see." Ye Wushang suddenly realized. She should be the granddaughter of the big brother that Xing Chun mentioned. However, I said I would visit her in person later, but she took the initiative to invite me. It seems that the old man's condition is worrying. "Missin, I can cure your grandfather's illness, but now. Mr. Yi, don't bother with this little thing. I can handle it." And Lan interrupted and glanced up. A dozen bodyguards understood what he meant and took action immediately. A group of people drove away Captain Yarn and others. They were the elites among the elites. Not to mention the confrontation, just their strong momentum was enough to make people afraid. The policemen didn't dare to act rashly and retreated without saying a word. Another group of people quickly surrounded the workshop, making it impossible for anyone to get in. Not to mention people, even a fly can't fly in. "Mr. Yi, I will send someone to repair the capital of your workshop later. Without your permission, no one can touch your workshop. Please get in the car." And Lan bowed slightly and invited respectfully. Ye Wushang nodded. Saving people was the most important thing. With her bodyguards watching over them, Sun Chuanlong and the others would not dare to do anything rash. Just as she was about to follow Lan into the car, Lan Rushuang, who had come to her senses, suddenly scolded her, "Who do you think you are? Just because you said you can't move, you can't move. I'm telling you, this workshop is now owned by my Lan family, we can move it whenever we want." Bang! Before she could finish her words, a slap hit her hard in the face. "If you dare to say another word, I'll cut off your tongue." And Lan glared at Lan Rushuang. The ferocious look in his eyes, as if he wanted to eat someone, frightened Lan Rushuang so much that her body trembled and she almost lost her balance. Then, Lan opened the car door, invited Ye Wushang to get in, and drove away. "Are you blind? You watched that bitch beat me and you didn't do anything. And you watched them go away, you." Lan Rushuang felt extremely aggrieved. She covered her painful cheek and was about to cry. Captain Yarn looked helpless and sighed, "It's not that we don't care, it's that we don't dare to care. That's the eldest daughter of the Yin family. We can't afford to offend her." "Then can you afford to offend my Sun family?" Sun Chuanlong roared. His injuries were too severe and the violent movements made him feel like dying. Lan Rushuang quickly supported him and comforted him, "Brother Long, don't be angry. I will take you to the hospital for treatment first. I'll call my sister and ask her to avenge us." In the special ward of the Municipal People's Hospital. "Rushuang, I'm not saying anything bad about you, but the workshop is a relic left to Wushang by his mother. Besides, I asked Assistant Shu to call you and ask you to stop the demolition. Why didn't you listen?" Lan Ruoshua, who rushed over after hearing the news, frowned slightly as she looked at Sun Chuanlong, who had taken the medicine and fell asleep. Thinking back to what had just happened, Lan Rushuang was still furious. When she heard her sister blaming her, she immediately got angry. Are you still my sister? Why are you so mean? I received a call from Assistant Shu. When the garbage came, I also stopped the workers. But I asked him to give me some time to clean up the scene, but that idiot went crazy and started yelling. Brother Long was so angry that he argued with him, and he ended up fighting. Look what he did to Brother Long. Lan Ruoshua shook her head and said, based on my understanding of Wushang, he is not the kind of person with a bad temper. He attacked suddenly. You must have said something to provoke him. Lan Ruoshua. Lan Rushuan stood up and raised her voice. What do you mean by that? Don't you believe me? There were a lot of people watching at the time, including Captain Yang from the police station. He can prove that it was that loser who was making trouble. Assistant Chu had already visited the scene to check it out before coming here. If you don't believe me, you can ask Assistant Chu. Speaking of. She glanced and gave Xu Wei a wink. Xu Wei understood and nodded. Yes, Mr. Lan, I was there. The onlookers and Captain Yarn can all testify. It was that bastard who was being unreasonable. Not only did he beat young Master Sun, but he also found a woman to back him up. If the crowd hadn't stopped him, young Master Sun's injuries would have been even more serious. Upon hearing this, Lan Rushuan's face darkened. Could it be that it was really Ye Wushang's fault? Because of divorce, unable to bear the blow, he turned to revenge on his own family. Sun Chuanlong and Rushuang have reached the stage of discussing marriage, and many of the group's businesses need the Sun family's support. Isn't it revenge on himself that he beat Sun Chuanlong? Rushuang, please take care of Chuanlong first. I will handle this matter. Lan Ruoshua stood up. Lan Rushuang touched Sun Chuanlong's wound with heartache and said solemnly, Sister, you must avenge me and Brother Long. That loser is going crazy now. Otherwise, just ask Grandpa to give him the secret recipe for bathing and use it to deal with him. Rushuang. Lan Ruoshua raised her voice, signaling for them not to say any more, waved her hand, and walked out with Xu Wei. She knew that Ye Wushang was in poor health and would get sick whenever it rained. Whenever this happened, she would need to take the prescription given by her grandfather and let him take a bath. Although I don't know the specific cause, this is the only way to relieve his symptoms. Although the two are divorced, their love for each other remains, and she doesn't want to do something threatening. Boss Lan, I will find someone to capture that bastard and make him apologize to young Master Sun and Miss Rushuang. As she spoke, Xu Wei took out her cell phone, but was stopped by Lan Rushuang. No need, there must be some misunderstanding about this matter. Misunderstand? Xu Wei curled her lips and said seriously, so many people saw it at the time, could it be a misunderstanding? Besides, even if there was a misunderstanding, they couldn't just sit down and talk it out, but just went ahead and beat him up so badly. I think he is obviously resentful because you divorced him, and he is deliberately taking revenge. You shouldn't be soft-hearted with a petty man like him, or he'll get into trouble in the future. Yes. No matter how big the matter is, you should sit down and discuss it slowly. Hitting people at every turn, what is the difference between this and animals? Let me call and ask first. After all, they are husband and wife, so Lan Ruoshua decided to ask clearly first. She quickly dialed Ye Wushang's number. Here, Ye Wushang was sitting in the back seat of a luxury car, resting with his eyes closed. When he heard the cell phone ringing, he subconsciously took out his phone and was startled when he saw the caller ID. After hesitating for a moment, he finally answered the phone. You really hit someone. Before he could open his mouth, an angry scolding came from the other end of the phone. Chapter 5 Liar. Ye Wushang was stunned for a moment, then realized, is this a traitor? Yes, but. Ye Wushang. Hearing the other party admitted himself, Lan Ruoshua said disappointedly, I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. Just because I divorced you, you were unhappy and went to take revenge on my family. Why are you so petty? Am I petty? Ye Wushang smiled bitterly. He didn't expect that he was so unbearable in her eyes. Without asking for the reason, he jumped to conclusion. He suddenly realized that after 3 years of marriage with her, all his so-called sincerity had been wasted. I beat him because he deserved it. Do you know what he did to the workshop? Then you can't hit anyone. Lan Ruoshua was not interested in listening to his explanation. In her opinion, right is right and wrong is wrong. Her tone was cold, and she tried to restrain herself. Listen, for the sake of our relationship as husband and wife, I can settle this matter for you. But you must come to the hospital immediately and apologize to Sun Chuanlong and my sister. Otherwise. How else? Ye Wushang's tone gradually turned cold. Are you going to call the police to arrest me, or are you going to find someone to deal with me? Ye Wushang, can you please be more mature? Lan Ruoshua roared in frustration. She used to think that Ye Wushang was cowardly and had no ambition. I thought that after the divorce, he would repent. But now, not only does he beat people up, but he also does it with a sense of righteousness. It's simply self-degradation. You have to understand, I'm giving you a chance. If you hit Sun Chuanlong, the Sun family will not let you go. Whatever they want, or whatever you want. Ye Wushang said indifferently, don't call me anymore in the future. I'm busy and don't have time. After saying. He hung up the phone directly. It's unreasonable. Lan Ruoshua clenched her phone tightly, shaking with anger. But years of self-cultivation finally allowed her to calm down. She originally felt guilty about the other party's hasty divorce, but now it seems that divorce was a wise decision. Boss Lan, calm down. Seeing Lan Ruoshua's furious look, Xu Wei quickly comforted her. Please wait a moment, I'll call someone and bring that bastard back. If he doesn't apologize to young Master Sun and Miss Rushuang, I will skin him alive. After saying that, she took out her phone again, but Lan Ruoshua held it back and waved her hand, saying, forget it, let him be. After all, he helped me before. This time, just consider it as me paying off his debt. Well, Xu Wei, go talk to Sun Chuanlong first and ask him not to tell his family. Let's leave it at that. Later, I will tell my parents that I agree to his marriage with Rushuang. This will be considered as giving him an explanation. Boss Lan. Xu Wei said indignantly, are you too kind to that loser? Not only did he beat young Master Sun, but the vixen he found also. That's enough. I have made up my mind, so stop trying to persuade me. Lan Ruoshua didn't want to think about it anymore, so she took a deep breath and said solemnly, the most urgent task is to win the auction. Boss Lan, are you talking about the business agency auction hosted by the Yin family tomorrow? Good. Lan Ruoshua nodded, looked at the dim lights outside the window, and said thoughtfully. In my mind, divorcing Ye Wushang and regaining my freedom is just the first step. If we want to make the group bigger and stronger, and even help the family upgrade its status, we have to consolidate our market share. Right now, the best opportunity is to win the agency rights for the Angier business auction. This way, we can focus on expanding our business to the provincial capital. Why? Looking at Lan Ruoshua's resolute attitude, Xu Wei knew that the other party was determined not to pursue the matter. He immediately took back his phone and said respectfully, don't worry, Mr. Lan. I'll go talk to Sun Chuanlong right away. Ancient castle on the outskirts of the city. Quick, inform everyone to spray this spray to eliminate body odor. Also, change all the bright lights in the castle to dimmed lights. If you don't finish it within 10 minutes, pack your bags and get out. At the door. And Lan's cousin, and Hailong, was scolding a group of servants. And Lan took Ye Wushang and walked over, asking suspiciously, cousin, what are you doing? Is it my grandfather? Lan is back, don't worry, grandpa is not in danger for the time being. Seeing Lan, and Hailong's expression changed slightly, but he did not say anything. He just sighed and said. Those quacks in the room couldn't even wake grandpa up, let alone cure him. My dad just called Dr. Xu Lang from the medical school and asked him to come and see grandpa again. He will be here soon. This Dr. Xu is very good. Every time grandpa had an attack, he was the one who stabilized his condition. But when he was treating patients, he didn't like to smell any strange odors, and he was afraid that others would steal his skills, so he never treated patients under bright lights. So, I asked them to get ready quickly, so as not to make Dr. Xu unhappy. Hearing this, Lan couldn't help but frown. Ye Wushang couldn't help but mutter, I've never heard of anyone curing illnesses this way. Is this really a skill, or is this just a hoax? Shut up. And Hailong shouted and glared at Ye Wushang, who do you think you are? How dare you slander Dr. Xu? Cousin, don't get excited. And Lan quickly introduced, this is Mr. Ye Wushang Yi, I invited him to treat grandpa. Just him. And Hailong raised his eyebrows, looked at Ye Wushang, and sneered, a guy who hasn't even grown all his hair yet knows medical skills. Age has nothing to do with medical consultation. Shut up and stop showing off in front of me. And Hailong glanced at Ye Wushang, then looked at Lan and said earnestly, Lan, I know you feel sorry for Grandpa and want to help. But you can't just rush to seek medical help. This guy is obviously a liar. Don't be fooled by him. Grandpa has been ill for so many years. Which of the doctors we invited is not a master in the medical field? Even they can't do anything, what can this kid do? The words may be rough, but the truth is there. In fact, Lan himself was not sure. But she believed in Xinchang Chun. He and his grandfather have a lifelong friendship. At that time, he promised himself with a pat on his chest. It is said that as long as Ye Wushang takes action, Grandpa's illness will be cured. Thinking of this, she said with certainty, Cousin, you can't judge a person by his appearance. Although Mr. Yi is young, he has superb medical skills. I believe that as long as he takes action, he should be able to cure Grandpa. Should. And Hailong sneered, glanced at Ye Wushang, and said jokingly, You just said that medical skills have nothing to do with age. So, you know a lot about medicine, right? Okay, for Lanlan's sake, I'll give you a chance to prove yourself. Ye Wushang said indifferently, How to prove it? He is a person who goes along with whatever happens, and even when treating illnesses, he insists on going with the flow. If it were in the past, he would have turned around and left. Unfortunately, Mr. An has the Hanlong grass that he needs, which is crucial for him to recover and find his father. Therefore, even if the other party intends to make things difficult for him, he can only endure it temporarily. Simple, I'm sick, please take a look at me. As long as you can tell what's wrong with me, I'll let you treat my grandfather. How about it, do you dare to look at me? Ye Wushang frowned and asked, Are you sure you want me to tell you? Nonsense, if you have the guts, just say it, if you can't, then get out of here as soon as possible. Lan is young and can be easily fooled by you, but I, and Hailong, I'm not that easy to fool. He was certain that the other party must be a liar. To take a step back, even if he really has medical skills, he would never be able to tell what's wrong with me. But the result is, you are a very generous person. You are willing to share even something like impotence with others in public. Admire. Boom. Hearing this, and Hailong's head suddenly exploded. Before I could refute, the other party continued. Of course, the main reason why others can't get an erection is because they do it too often, which causes internal fatigue in the body. But you are different. You only rely on medicine to maintain your health. What's more, you take fake medicine. So it turns out that just because you're older, it doesn't mean you won't be cheated, right? Chapter 6, He's not going to run away, is he? You, how do you know? Hitting the pain point, and Hailong blurted out. But as soon as he opened his mouth, he regretted it. Because my father said that he would be the successor of the Yin family in the future. Therefore, he has always been careful in what he said and did, giving people the impression of being a very serious person. But now, people knew that he liked to have sex with women. Looking at everyone's surprised eyes, he wished he could find a hole in the ground to crawl into. What's going on? How does this guy know that he can't do it? Logically speaking, he has done a good job of keeping the secret. With his reputation as the eldest son of the Yin family, who among those doctors would dare to gossip about him? So this guy really has medical skills. My doctor, I can tell at a glance whether you are sick or not. Is that weird? Ye Wushang was calm and composed. Cousin, how is it, can Mr. Yi go to see Grandpa now? And Lan teased. To be honest, she was a little nervous just now. But Ye Wushang's performance was perfect. With just one glance, he was able to tell what my cousin's symptoms were. He must be an expert. When I first met him, I felt that he was different. Now it seems that my hunch was correct. Humph, there is no such thing as a wall that is impenetrable. Isn't it normal to hearsay? This kind of liar is just playing tricks. Don't try to fool me. Let me ask you again, you just said that the medicine I took was fake, what evidence do you have? Ye Wushang smiled bitterly and said calmly. When you first spoke to me, in addition to smelling your bad breath, I also smelled drug residue. If you take too much of this fake medicine, it can easily cause abdominal swelling and purple bruises. Long-term use will also cause abdominal fat to accumulate. Once it covers the navel, it will cause kidney function to decline. If you don't believe me, you can lift up your clothes and take a look. Speaking of, He turned his head to look at Lan and asked, "Miss An, time is limited. When can I treat the patient?" "Right now." Lan smiled and nodded. Without paying any attention to Hailong, he walked towards the door with Ye Wushang. Hailong was slightly stunned and subconsciously lifted up his clothes. "My waist is swollen. There are also purple bruises. And a pile of fat has already submerged the belly button." "Yes, it really is." A servant couldn't help but exclaim. "It's amazing. He can see the symptoms through the clothes. This guy is amazing. Master Long, why don't you stop taking the medicine for now? Get out. Get out." And Hailong felt ashamed. He yelled and screamed almost like a madman, scaring all the servants so much that they ran away in panic. Second floor ward. Under Hailong's arrangement, the curtains were closed and the room was filled with a pungent smell of spray. Ye Wushang frowned slightly, but did not show it. Instead, he went straight to the bedside to check on Mr. N's condition. After a while, after taking the patient's pulse, he basically understood the patient's condition. Although Mr. N is old, he is still in good health. Even if he is sick, they are just some basic illnesses and are not fatal. The main reason for his coma is the blockage of tendons and veins, which leads to insufficient blood supply. It is obvious that someone has tampered with him. When he saw the bowl of medicine next to him, his relaxed brows immediately frowned. "Mr. Yi, how is it? Can my grandfather's illness be cured?" Noticing that Ye Wushang looked strange, Lan asked nervously. "It's not a big problem." Ye Wushang glanced around and pointed to a potted plant not far away. "Miss An, please take out the bamboo in the potted plant and cut it into 50 bamboo sticks as thin as hair. I want to give Master an acupuncture." Lan frowned. Although she didn't know any medical skills, Chinese acupuncture also uses silver needles. How could he use bamboo sticks? Although she had her doubts, she still did as she was told and immediately ordered people to dismantle the bamboo, cut it into bamboo sticks, and hand them to Ye Wushang. Without saying a word, Ye Wushang picked up the bamboo sticks and started acupuncture. The movements are smooth and flowing, like playing a piece of music, done in one go. The whole process is high energy and it is a feast for the eyes. Especially in Lan, she didn't know much about acupuncture, but Ye Wushang's acupuncture was not only fast, but also accurate, which was very spectacular. 10 minutes later. After sticking 49 bamboo sticks, Ye Wushang stuck the last bamboo stick into the corner of Mr. N's mouth, tilted it into the medicine bowl next to him, and stood up. "Okay, done." Lan couldn't believe it. A man in a white coat quickly checked the instrument's readings and sneered, "The data hasn't changed at all, and you call this a cure? What a trick." He acted like a tiger, but turned around and looked like an idiot. "Are you playing tricks here?" Everyone laughed. Lan was also a little confused. If it was an ordinary patient, Master N should have woken up as soon as I finished the injection. But someone has tampered with it, so the process has to be more complicated. You have to take medicine. As he spoke, Ye Wushang looked at Lan and asked, "Miss An, where is your kitchen?" "Downstairs." Lan was startled and asked in confusion, "Are you hungry? I'll prepare the meal right away." "No, I'm making medicine for Master N to drink." Ye Wushang picked up a piece of paper and wrote a few words, then handed it to Lan. "Miss An, follow the instructions on this recipe and send the ingredients to the kitchen." "That's no problem." Lan handed the prescription to the servant and asked curiously, "But, you just said that someone tampered with my grandfather." "This is. We'll talk about it later." Ye Wushang turned around and left. When he reached the door, he said, "By the way, don't worry about the bamboo stick at the corner of Master N's mouth. Just let the juice flow out on its own. No one is allowed to touch Master N until I come back. Clear?" Lan nodded, and after watching the other person leave, he felt inexplicably confused. Why does this person talk so anticlimactically? I can't understand anything about him. Especially after acupuncture, Grandpa did not wake up, which made her suspicious. "Hurry, Dr. Shu, please come in." Just at this moment, Hailong led in a middle-aged man in his 40s, wearing a Tai Chi suit and looking like a scholar. "Dr. Shu, please come and see my grandfather. These people are useless. I am counting on you. My dad said, as long as you can cure my grandpa, you can name your price." Shu Lang nodded and walked to the bedside. When he was about to check on Mr. N's condition, he suddenly discovered that his body was full of bamboo sticks. His face darkened. Who put this on Masterin? It's Mr. Ye. And Lan answered truthfully. Nonsense. Shu Lang shouted and tried to pull out the bamboo stick, but Lan stopped him and said, Dr. Shu, you can't pull out the bamboo stick. Mr. Yi has instructed that no one should touch my grandfather until he comes back. I believe in Mr. Yi, he can definitely cure it. But what is the result? And Hailong interrupted and sneered, he also treated Grandpa, but Grandpa hasn't woken up yet. Looking around, he asked suspiciously, by the way, where is that guy? He said Grandpa needs to take medicine to wake up, he should be here now. Should he run away? And Hailong sighed. I was right, this guy is a liar. He seemed so confident in what he said before, maybe he overheard it somewhere. She even dared to say that the medicine she was taking was fake. He almost ran over to call the woman and questioned her. The two of them have been together for 4 or 5 years, and it works out every time, so they don't put themselves in a bad situation. Dr. Shu, please ignore that liar. My cousin was kind-hearted and was deceived by him. I am not that easy to fool. In my heart, you are the only one who can cure my grandfather. Shu Lang's expression slightly changed, but he didn't say much. When he reached out to pull out the bamboo stick, Lan couldn't help but yelled, wait. Mr. Yi said that we can't pull it out. This concerns my grandfather's life or death. If you pull it out, who will be responsible if anything happens to my grandfather? Chapter 7 I quit the medical profession. I'll take charge. Shu Lang said sternly, I am a doctor. I know how to treat the disease. If you don't trust me, I can leave now. Speaking of. He stood up. And Hailong quickly comforted her, staring at Lan at the same time, and said solemnly, Lan, please don't be willful, okay? My father spent a lot of money to hire Dr. Shu. Now my grandfather is critically ill, and only Dr. Shu can cure him. If you count on that liar, I'm afraid that Grandpa will turn into ashes. Maybe he has already run away. And Lan's face darkened, and he said coldly, don't use your father to pressure me. I believe Mr. Yi. If he says he can cure my grandfather, then he will. Forget it, missin. Just listen to my advice. Before he finished speaking, other people in white coats spoke up one after another. That kid has been struggling for half an hour, but there is no improvement, right? Dr. Shu is a great doctor, famous throughout the provincial capital. Only he can cure Masterin. You are so stubborn and it will only delay the disease. While talking. And Hailong winked at several servants. They all stepped forward and stopped Lan. He followed Shu Lang and quickly removed all the bamboo sticks from his grandfather's body. You are playing tricks on me, and you expect these few broken bamboo sticks to cure Masterin. That's just nonsense. Shu Lang began to diagnose and treat while muttering. And everyone's anxious hearts gradually settled down. Their medical skills are not very good and they are indeed helpless, but with Shu Lang here, the disease will definitely be cured. When he glanced at Lan, whose face was full of indignation, he felt a little contempt in his heart. It is undeniable that Lan's business operations are indeed good, but how can its vision for people be so poor? An obvious liar, he actually uses a treasure to worship. Isn't this just a vase? Ding ding. Half an hour later. The instrument, which had been unresponsive, suddenly sent out a signal. It's just that the condition is not getting better, but rather it's becoming more serious. The light red color on the instrument has turned into dark red. Grandfather. And Lan was shocked. He pushed through the crowd, looked at the rapidly decreasing number, and shouted, What on earth did you do to my grandfather? Why are you panicking? It's not that easy to cure diseases and save lives. The others all looked anxious. But Shu Lang was not panicked at all. First aid was initiated immediately, but after 10 minutes, all methods were exhausted. But the situation still did not improve, and the undulating curve slowly became a straight line. Anyone with common sense knows that a straight line means the end of life. How so? Shu Lang's expression changed, and he looked at Hailong in bewilderment. Masterin, he seems to be dying. What? And Hailong was shocked. And Lan rushed over, grabbed him by the collar, and roared, You old bastard, how dare you kill my grandfather? No, this has nothing to do with me. Shu Lang tried his best to distance himself from the matter. At this moment, Ye Wushang's voice suddenly came from outside the door, Who told you to pull out the bamboo sticks? Looking at the bamboo sticks scattered on the ground, Ye Wushang's face was gloomy and he walked forward quickly. And Lan's face was full of self-blame and shame. When he was about to explain, Shu Lang suddenly pointed the finger at Ye Wushang. It's him, it must be him. In the past, when I treated Mr. N, he would wake up in half an hour at most. But now an hour has passed, not only has he not woken up, his condition has become even worse. Just now when I was treating him, I found that Master N's spleen and stomach were bleeding profusely. It must be that his broken bamboo stick pierced the organ. It's all his fault. He wanted to kill Master N. It has nothing to do with me. He was originally still thinking about how to resolve this matter. The appearance of the other party gave him just the right reason. Are you the Dr. Shu who asked people to spray and turn off the lights? Ye Wushang looked at the other person. It's me, what's wrong? Ye Wushang curled his lips and said, he looks so righteous, but I didn't expect him to be so vicious. What do you mean by that, you bastard? Explain yourself clearly. Shu Lang's face darkened, and he was about to scold him, but Lan suddenly said, Mr. Yi, saving people is the most important thing. Please come and see my grandfather. Miss N, please forgive me for being blunt, but Master N is beyond help. Now, even if a god came, he couldn't save him. Get out of here. And Lan roared and pushed him hard. When he wanted to beg Ye Wushang again, he suddenly took out a black pill and handed it to him. Miss N, please feed this medicine to Mr. N first. Originally, if the bamboo sticks were not removed, he would be fine after taking the medicine, but now, it is a bit troublesome, I have to give him a few massages. Speaking of. He glanced at Shu Lang and said meaningfully, as for you, you'd better think about how to clean up the mess. Stop being so sarcastic, you're the one who killed Master N. Shu Lang felt inexplicably nervous. There is always a feeling that the other person sees through me. But I did it very carefully, so there shouldn't be any problems. As An Hailong said, the other party is a liar. Cousin, what is this thing? It stinks. Can it cure Grandpa? Seeing that An Lan was about to feed his grandfather, An Hailong couldn't help but dissuade him. If he can't be cured, can you cure him? An Lan glared at him. Although this pill looks ugly and smells disgusting. But Ye Wushang is the only hope to save her grandfather. No matter what, she must try. Gurgle. Swallow the medicine into your mouth. Ye Wushang walked forward and began massaging from the top of his head. Acupuncture points can gather qi and blood. Massage and displacement to comb the muscles and bones. Compared to the smooth and seamless acupuncture before. Ye Wushang's massage this time was vigorous and powerful, as if Master N had become a toy in his hands. Sometimes reverse. Sometimes it precipitates. The cycle repeats itself and continues to accumulate. And every time he tossed it around, Master N would let out a painful whimper. This isn't medical treatment, it's just juggling. Shu Lang curled his lips and said, acupuncture uses silver needles, but he uses bamboo sticks. 2ENA requires strength, technique and coordination, but he was just messing around like kneading dough. This kid doesn't have any medical skills at all, he looks like a charlatan. As soon as these words were spoken, they were immediately supported by other white coats. That's right, you dare to call yourself a Chinese medicine practitioner? Isn't this smearing Chinese medicine? Although Chinese medicine isn't that great, it's still a branch of medicine after all. But what is he doing? Is this a monkey show? If this continues, Master N might really be gone. As a Western doctor, they themselves are very resistant to traditional Chinese medicine. Now Ye Wushang's actions made them sneer even more. Boom. With the final kneading is done. Ye Wushang placed Master N steadily on the bed. He broke the medicine bowl beside the bed with his bare hands and picked up a toothpick on the ground. After smearing it on it several times, he wiped it towards the corner of Mr. N's mouth. Okay, Miss N. Ye Wushang took a deep breath and ordered, please ask everyone present to take off their coats and open the curtains and windows. An Lan frowned and was about to ask, but seeing the other party's determined look, he chose to do as he was told. What does healing have to do with us taking off our clothes? Some of them were dissatisfied. An Lan immediately scolded, if you don't agree, get out. I don't welcome you in the infamily. What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and open the curtains and windows. Anyone who dares not do so will be banned from staying in the infamily. Although An Hailong's status is higher than hers. But in terms of family contribution, An Lan is far superior to An Hailong. If they really want to fall out, with her prestige in the family and the group, she will definitely be able to crush An Hailong's lineage. After doing so, no one in the audience was convinced and they all thought Ye Wushang was playing tricks. Only Shu Lang's face turned pale, and he felt inexplicably panicked. Who is this kid? First there were some inexplicable words. Then open the curtains and take off your clothes. Could it be that he really saw through it? Boy, we are here to save people, not to let you do tricks. Do you think that if you do so many things, Master An will be able to survive? Shu Lang said coldly. Of course he can survive, it's just our hope. But that may not be the case. Shu Lang's expression changed, and he scolded, stop talking nonsense there. I don't believe you can cure Master An. If he really wakes up, I, Shu Lang, will quit the medical profession. Ahem. As soon as the words fell, Mr. An, who was originally unconscious, suddenly coughed and moved. Chapter 8, Never Give In. Mr. An vomited blood. It splashed on the ground, purple and black and sticky, with many small bubbles. Moreover, it is somewhat corrosive and splashes onto the floor, quickly burning to produce a puff of white steam. Why is this blood black? An Lan was shocked. The others were also confused and asked in disbelief, is Master An poisoned? Vomit. Just as he was surprised, Mr. An spat out several mouthfuls of blood again. After he finished vomiting, his originally pale face gradually turned rosy. Water. Master An shouted weakly. An Lan quickly poured a glass of water and helped Grandpa sit up. When the glass touched his mouth, he drank it in a few gulps before happily saying, it feels so good. Boom. Hearing this, everyone's heads exploded instantly. Mr. An, who had been in a coma for a long time and had been bedridden, not only woke up, but also said he felt very comfortable. Doesn't the implication mean that he is fine? The curve is normal. The data is normal. All indicators have returned to normal. Master An, he is so nice. Several people in white coats quickly checked the equipment. When it was confirmed that the data was stable, everyone was shocked. And the expressions they looked at Ye Wushang also changed. The previous sarcasm and ridicule have long disappeared. What replaced it was an indescribable worship and admiration. That's great, Grandpa, you're finally well. An Hailong roared excitedly. An Lan heaved a long sigh of relief, his heart finally settling down. She gently placed Master An on the backrest, stood up, bowed to Ye Wushang and said, Mr. Yi, you saved my grandfather, so you are the benefactor of our An family. From now on, you will be my guest of honor. No matter what happens in the future, as long as you give me an order, I will do my best. Ye Wushang waved his hand and said, Miss An, you are too serious. Practicing medicine and treating illnesses is just the duty of a doctor. It is not worth mentioning. As soon as these words were spoken, all the people in white coats felt ashamed of themselves. They all lowered their heads and remained silent. And Shu Lang was so angry that his face turned blue. He was angry that the other party overshadowed him, and he was even more angry that the other party actually saved the old man. In this case, wouldn't all my efforts for so long be in vain? I didn't expect this guy to be so capable. And Hailong curled his lips. Although I don't like this guy, it is undeniable that he is indeed capable. After a brief pause, he asked, Ye Wushang, let me ask you, why is the blood my grandfather just vomited black? I'm afraid you'll have to ask him. Ye Wushang glanced at Shu Lang. Shu Lang's body trembled, and he said stubbornly, Boy, what does this have to do with me? You, don't talk nonsense here. Still pretending. Ye Wushang shook his head slightly. Mr. An was puzzled and asked, Mr. Yi, what do you mean by this? Mr. Yi, I am warning you. You can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. Mr. An is not only my patient, but also my friend. How could I harm him? Whether it is or not, you know it clearly in your heart. Ye Wushang's eyes turned cold. It seems that you won't cry until you see the coffin. All right, I'll help you. Speaking of. He took out 2 pieces of pork liver and pork lung that he had taken from the kitchen from the plastic bag and placed them flat on the table. Then he took a low stool and covered it with it, and looked at An Hailong, Master An, give me the spray. By the way, tear off a piece of your clothes and give it to me. An Hailong asked suspiciously, what do you want to do? Do it. Master An said seriously. And Hailong didn't dare to disobey his grandfather's wishes, so he handed the spray and the leftover clothes to Ye Wushang. He sprayed it first, then covered the stool with the scraps, and finally poured the remaining soup in the medicine bowl into it. A few minutes later, the moment he uncovered the stool, everyone was stunned. Why is it dark? And there are small bubbles coming out of it, just like the blood that Master and just vomited. What's going on? Mr. Yi, please explain it clearly. Everyone kept urging. Ye Wushang glanced at Shulang, who was now pale and sweating profusely. These 2 pieces of liver and lung are equivalent to Mr. N's organs. It was fine originally, but after adding the juice in the medicine bowl, it turned into poisonous juice. The spray can catalyze the venom to flow through their body, and then, under the dark light, it can subtly affect the entire body. This can cause deep, chronic poisoning symptoms. That's why Mr. N's condition worsened, but no matter whether it was instrument testing or surgery, the real cause of the disease could not be found. Speaking of this, he looked at Shulang and said calmly, I have to say that you really took great pains to clear yourself of suspicion. If they want to kill Master N, they don't want to implicate me. This is killing 2 birds with 1 stone. It's both smart and vicious. If you hadn't run into me, even if Master N had died, no one would have suspected you. Swish! As the words fell, Shulang suddenly made a lightning-fast move and grabbed Lan hostage. He pulled out 5 silver needles and stabbed them into her neck. Shhhhhh. It happened in the blink of an eye. Ye Wushang also acted quickly, picked up 5 bamboo sticks on the ground and cut straight over. Not only did it block the 5 silver needles, but it also cut across and stabbed his right hand. He felt pain and screamed, and Lan was pushed away in an instant. Little bastard. It's all your fault. Otherwise I would have succeeded. Shulang was furious. With a roar, he rushed towards Ye Wushang. He is an expert in both medicine and martial arts. Most doctors have their own kung fu skills. Shulang was such a person. When he rushed over to fight with Ye Wushang, everyone was sweating. But Ye Wushang stood still, not moving at all. The moment the opponent attacked, he suddenly lowered his body and went directly behind him. Bang! Change fists into claws, lock the spine, and squeeze hard. Puff! Shulang vomited blood and fell to the ground. Before he could get up, Ye Wushang stepped on his chest, making him unable to move. Shulang, you ungrateful bastard. I treat you as a friend, but you actually want to kill me. Tell me. Why are you doing this? Mr. N was frightened. If Ye Wushang had not acted in time, his granddaughter would have been in danger. Shulang wandered on the ground, paying no attention to Master N. He just wanted to get up and attack again. I looked at the medicine bowl. This should be 5 or 6 times the usual amount. You are so anxious to kill Master N, it seems that the person behind this is a little impatient. Shut up. Shut up. Shulang was so angry at what Ye Wushang said that he kept scolding, you little bastard, it's all your fault. You ruined my good thing. I, Shulang, will not let you go even if I become a ghost. Absolutely not. Not good. Ye Wushang's expression turned stern. Before he could make a move, the other party suddenly gritted his teeth and blood flowed from the corners of his mouth. And his waving hands immediately drooped down. Grandpa, he's dead. And Hailong went forward, sniffed and found that the person was no longer breathing. Until his death, he kept his eyes wide open, staring at Ye Wushang, and died with his eyes open. Chapter 9. Do you know who he is? Asshole. How dare they poison my grandfather? I must find out who is behind this. And Lan's face darkened. Master N seemed to be thinking about something, and waved his hand and said, Okay, Lan, I know what's going on, so don't interfere. Hailong, call your dad and ask him to come back immediately. I want to talk to him in person. And Hailong nodded and said, Yes, Grandpa, I'll go right away. You can see it. He should know who is behind the scenes. I just don't want to cause any trouble. Ye Wushang didn't care. He looked at Master N and asked. Master N, from now on, you just need to rest and recuperate. You will be fully recovered in 10 days at the least and a month at the most. As agreed, I cured your illness, so this is mine. Sorry, Mr. Yi. Before he finished speaking, Master N suddenly interrupted him and said awkwardly, The Hanlong grass is still in my medicinal field and has not been picked yet. To be honest, when Chang Chun said you could cure me, I didn't hold out much hope, but I didn't want to embarrass him. I didn't expect that your medical skills are so advanced. It's my fault for not making good arrangements. Please give me one more day, tomorrow. I will definitely send it to your home tomorrow, is that okay with you? There's still tomorrow. Ye Wushang frowned. The medicinal herbs I have are all used up. The weather has been bad recently and I am eagerly waiting for hanlong grass for recuperation. But if it's a day or two later, it shouldn't be a big problem. Okay, let's do it tomorrow. Ye Wushang nodded. But I thought about what the other party said to deliver it to my home. Home. Does he still have a home? He did not take a penny of what Lan Ruoshua gave him. To be honest, he doesn't even have a place to stay now. No need to send it. I'll come and pick it up myself tomorrow. After saying, Ye Wushang turned around and left the house. Dr. Yi, I'll take you there. And Lan immediately chased after him. Ye family. On the bed lay a pale, terminally ill old man. In his hand, he held a divorce agreement. Ruoshua, who asked you to divorce Wushang? Tell me, who gave you the bad idea? Master Lan was so angry that he was shaking all over. Grandpa, don't get excited. Your health is important. Lan Ruoshua supported her grandfather and said solemnly, it was my own decision. It has nothing to do with others. I've given him many chances, but he never made any progress. It's only a matter of time before we break up. It is better to suffer a short pain than a long one. I think divorce is the best outcome for us. Speaking of this, thinking of the previous beating incident, she was even more desperate and sighed, actually, I thought he would reflect on himself after the divorce. But he was unhappy about the divorce and actually beat Sun Chuanlong. He knew very well how much influence the Sun family had on our business. But he still insists on doing this, and I think divorcing him is a wise decision. Lan Rushuang at the side chimed in, yes, Grandpa. That idiot is not only cowardly, but also very petty. He just tore down 2 pillars of that broken workshop, but he was like a mad dog, biting everyone he saw. Wait. Hearing this, Lan Ruoshua was shocked and subconsciously grabbed the other person. Rushuang, you just said that he beat Chuanlong because you removed the pillars of the workshop. Married for 3 years. She thought she knew Ye Wushang very well. What he cared about most was the workshop, which was the relic left by his mother and his only thought. She originally thought that Ye Wushang was taking revenge because of the divorce, but unexpectedly, it was Sun Chuanlong and his men who dismantled the workshop's capitals. It turned out that I had misunderstood him. He beat up brother long before he even finished dismantling it. Lan Rushuang disagreed and cursed, he even found a vixen to back him up. In my opinion, that loser would have cheated on her long ago. Otherwise, he wouldn't have agreed to the divorce so readily. I don't care, Grandpa, please give me the recipe for that idiot's illness, I must punish him. Bang! Before he could finish his words, Mr. Lan suddenly slapped the table hard. This is just nonsense. Master Lan stared at the 2 sisters and said angrily, not only did you destroy his family's workshop, you also destroyed his family's workshop. Are you still human? Lan Rushuang said disapprovingly, what do you mean by crossing the river and then destroying the bridge? He is a coward and is of no use at all. Are we going to keep him at home and worship him? We are just cutting our losses in time. Grandpa, I divorced Wushang only because he and I had nothing in common. As for the matter of the workshop, I really didn't know. If I had known that it was Rushuang and the others who broke the workshop's pillars, I wouldn't have called him to question him. Speaking of this, Lan Ruoshua glared at Lan Rushuang and said sternly, Rushuang, you know how important that workshop is to Wushang. That's the relic his mother left him. It's his roots. Why are you so impulsive? I don't care about that. I just like that piece of land and I want to build a beauty salon. If he wants to stop me, I will make him pay. Bang! Master Lan slapped Lan Rushuang directly on the face. Shut up. How can you, a heartless person like you, say such ungrateful words? Do you know who Wushang is? You guys disappoint me so much. Hearing this, the 2 sisters looked at each other, puzzled. According to my idea, let Wushang live a good life at home. As long as the time is right, our family will be more than just a third-rate family. I thought it would be a blessing, but you guys ruined it all. Speaking of this, he collapsed on the bed like a deflated ball, as if he had aged a dozen years in an instant. Grandpa, are you sick? Why are you talking nonsense? Lan Rushuan curled her lips and said, "What's so great about that rubbish? He's just a homeless man. You must have been kind enough to pick him up." Grandfather. Lan Ruoshue was about to ask more questions, but Master Lan suddenly looked stern, stared at Lan Ruoshue, and shouted, "I don't recognize this divorce agreement. Unless Wushang comes to me personally and says that he doesn't want to stay in the Lan family anymore, otherwise, as long as I'm alive, no one can drive him away. Including everything you two sisters have now, since I can give it to you, I can also take it back." When these words were spoken, the two sisters were instantly shocked. Just as he was about to ask further, Master Lan turned his head away and said coldly, "If you don't come back to see me within 3 days, I will keep my word. Get out of here, I don't want to see you." The two sisters didn't dare to say anything more and could only leave in a hurry. After closing the door, Lan Rushuang was still muttering, but was scolded by Lan Ruoshue. "Rushuang, you took down the pillars of the workshop, why didn't you tell me earlier? What difference does it make whether you say it or not? That bastard beat up Brother Long anyway. If it weren't for Brother Long's kindness, if this matter was reported to the Sun family, not only would that loser be implicated, but our family would also be implicated. Speaking of this." She suddenly grabbed Lan Ruoshue and asked, "By the way, you said before that as long as Brother Long doesn't pursue the matter, you should persuade my parents to agree to our marriage. When are you going to tell them? You can say it yourself, I don't care about you." Lan Ruoshue gave her a cold look and walked straight out. She suddenly felt a little guilty. If she had known this would happen, she should have asked for things clearly at that time. Although he did go a bit too far in beating people. But the workshop was the clothing his mother left him, and Sun Chuanlong and his sister actually dismantled the workshop's pillars. It is understandable that they got angry. Whether it was out of self-blame or because of what her grandfather had just said, she wanted to make things clear with Ye Wushang. But as soon as I dialed the phone, the other party hung up. For 4 or 5 times in a row, the other party never answered the phone. "Ye Wushang, are you so petty? I just wanted to make things clear with you, but you didn't answer my call. What am I in your eyes?" Lan Ruoshue clenched her cell phone tightly, extremely disappointed with Ye Wushang. Chapter 10 Poor Acting. "Mr. Yi, where are we going?" And Lan asked. "Take me back to the city first." He hasn't decided where to go yet, and is thinking of going to the pharmacy to buy some herbs first. The recent weather forecast says that it will rain in the next 2 days, and he is prone to illness when it rains. I won't be able to get the Hanlong grass until tomorrow. Now I can only make some pills to stabilize my condition. Understood. Seeing Ye Wushang's strange expression, and Lan reacted immediately. She took out 2 things from her handbag, handed them to Ye Wushang, and said respectfully, "Mr. Yi, this is the supreme consumption card of our group. Any consumption in any property under my group will be free of charge. Food, drinks, entertainment, everything is included. And this key is the key to Panlong Houting Villa 101. You can live there in the future." Ye Wushang was stunned. Looking at the thing handed to him, he subconsciously wanted to refuse it, but the other party said, "Mr. Yi, please be sure to accept it. You saved my grandfather, so he gave you the Hanlong grass. This is a fair trade. And you just saved me from Shulang, which means you saved my life. So, these 2 things are my thanks to you, please accept them." Let her finish speaking all the good and bad words. Ye Wushang had no choice but to nod and say, "Okay, I'll respectfully obey your command. It just so happens that I have no place to stay right now. Just stay here for now and we'll talk about it after you settle down. Keep driving." The 2 of them chatted idly. Of course, and Lan was the one talking most of the time, almost always asking about everything about Ye Wushang. Perhaps influenced by Lan Ruoshue, Ye Wushang now has a natural sense of isolation towards women. He didn't want to have too much contact and just dealt with it casually. Laugh. Just then, a crisp sound was heard. "What's going on?" Ye Wushang looked up and found that the car was rapidly going downhill and could not stop at all. And Lan panicked and said, "I don't know why, the brakes suddenly failed, I can't control the car. The slope is very steep." Coupled with the inability to brake, the car was going at an extremely fast speed and arrived at the bend in the blink of an eye. "Get out of the way." Ye Wushang let out a low growl and subconsciously rushed over, pushing Lan aside. At the same time, hold the steering wheel with both hands, Use brute force to twist the direction, then pull it left and right, and then it floats. Boom! Their whole car almost flew up. Amid the violent bumps, Ye Wushang held the steering wheel with his right hand and held Lan's slender waist with his left hand, moving up and down. After a while, the car finally stabilized and stopped in an open space on the right. Call. Lan heaved a long sigh, and said with lingering fear, "I was scared to death. If it weren't for you, Mr. Yi, I wouldn't dare to imagine what the consequences would be." Ye Wushang didn't say anything, but opened the cover of the bottom box. When he saw the gap on the circuit board, he couldn't help but smile bitterly. He stood up and sat back down. Just as he was about to speak, there were a few whoosh sounds, and suddenly a dozen masked men flashed out from all directions and surrounded the car in a blink of an eye. One of the bald men, playing with the steel pipe in his hand, teased, "Beauty, I have no money to eat, can you lend me some money?" Lan frowned, "How dare you rob in broad daylight? Do you know who I am? I don't care who you are. If you don't pay me today, don't even think about leaving here." The bald man yelled and smashed the car window with a steel pipe. He looked at Lan and licked his lips and said, "I didn't notice you just now. I didn't realize that you are a pretty girl. I'm lucky today. I can rob you of your money and your body. With such a good figure, it must be exciting to do it. Brother, eat the meat first, and let the brothers have some soup later." Har har. The other men started to laugh. Lan couldn't help but get furious. From childhood to adulthood, when had he ever suffered such humiliation? Just as he was about to explode, Ye Wushang stopped him. He shook his head, then pushed the door and was about to get out of the car. The bald man immediately became alert and pointed the steel pipe in his hand directly at his face. "Boy, who the hell told you to move? I'm telling you, we're going to take over the wealth and sex today. If you dare to interfere, I'll kill you. I hate it most when people point things at me." Ye Wushang pushed the steel pipe away, got out of the car, and said indifferently, "You can do whatever you want, I'll go first." "Mr. Yi." Lan was dumbfounded. She thought the other party would stand up and teach these people a lesson. Who knew that he would abandon me? "Please come back soon. You don't care if they bully me." Lan couldn't believe that Ye Wushang would actually leave. He looked at his back and shouted anxiously. Even when a few masked men pulled her out of the car and attacked her, Ye Wushang remained indifferent and said calmly, "Missin, you are blessed by fate. I believe they will not hurt you." This. Lan was speechless. The bald man's expression suddenly changed, and he shouted, "Damn it, you saw your woman being bullied, and you actually ran away by yourself. I despise people like you the most. Come on, teach him a lesson. You are not even as good as us robbers. Are you still a man?" Following the bald man's order, more than a dozen men rushed forward. Bang! Ye Wushang kicked the man in front of him and knocked him to the ground. Fall over sideways, crushing 2 or 3 people. Immediately afterwards, Ye Wushang ducked to avoid the attack and punched hard with his elbow, knocking down 2 more. Finally, he twisted his waist and, like autumn wind sweeping fallen leaves, hit the other men in the chest, waist and abdomen. Accompanied by screams of pain, more than a dozen men were knocked down. They were lying on the ground like a pile of monks, wailing in pain and spitting blood. "Missin, their skills are actually pretty good, but it's a pity that they met me. Of course, skills are not the same as acting skills. To be honest, it's pretty poor. No need for you to send me off. I can walk back to the city by myself." After saying, Ye Wushang turned and left. Mr. Yi. Being discovered by the other party, Lan's pretty face turned red and she wanted to run over, but she found that there were 2 men holding her. "Let go. You've already messed up the show, why are you still pretending?" The 2 men quickly let go. Lan ran over as fast as he could, blocking Ye Wushang's way, and said ashamedly, "Mr. Yi, calm down, I didn't mean it. I didn't expect that you are not only so skilled, but also so insightful that you actually saw through it. I'm very curious. The break line is not due to aging, but someone has tampered with it. The cut in the line is the same as the beauty knife you used to touch up your makeup before. Although these people were targeting you, their eyes were always on me. When they started to attack you just now, they kept flirting with you. I'm not blind, can't I see that you arranged all of them? Speaking of this." Ye Wushang's eyes turned cold. "Missin, I cured your grandfather's illness and saved you from Shulang's knife. It's a bit of a favor, isn't it? Is this how you treat your benefactor? I didn't want to pursue it, but since you came after me, I want to ask you what you mean. If there is no reasonable explanation, this matter may not end well. Chapter 11 Charity Auction. Mr. Yi, please listen to my explanation. Seeing Ye Wushang getting angry, Lan quickly said, I'm not trying to tease you. I just want to test your skills. A few days ago, my personal bodyguard, Ghost Hand, was sent abroad by my grandfather for further studies. There is an important charity auction tomorrow night that concerns my and family's fortune for the next 10 years. I'm worried that someone might do something to me. I saw you beating up Shu Lang in the castle before. Combined with your performance just now, I think you are the most suitable candidate. So, I would like to hire you as my temporary bodyguard. I'm sorry if I offended you just now. I apologize. After saying. Lan lowered his posture, bowed his head, and looked pious. After listening to her description, Ye Wushang suddenly understood. Then I forgive you. His expression eased slightly, and in the face of the plea, he directly refused, but I'm busy, missin', please find someone else. Now, he just wants to make medicine to cure diseases and doesn't want to be involved in anything. Although he had a good impression of Lan, there was no need for him to have too much contact with her. Mr. Yi. Seeing Ye Wushang was about to leave, Lan stopped him again and said solemnly, my grandfather will order someone to collect the Hanlong grass tomorrow. But given his current physical condition, he certainly can't deliver it in person. He loves me the most, so he will definitely let me do this. You accompany me to the charity event tomorrow, and I'll give you the Hanlong grass. Isn't this the best of both worlds? Hearing this, Ye Wushang's expression changed and he asked coldly, are you threatening me? If I don't agree, you won't give me the Hanlong grass, is that what you mean? Lan shook his head and said, you are the savior of my and family. How could I threaten you? I am just explaining the facts to you. Of course, if you insist on refusing, I have nothing to say. After. She stepped aside and made way. But this time, Ye Wushang did not leave. With her reputation as the eldest daughter of the family, she can find any bodyguard she wants. But now she has to come herself, which shows that her so-called opponent is probably not an ordinary person. Save people to the end, send Buddha to the west. He was really worried that the other party would make use of the Hanlong grass, and he didn't want to fall before dawn. Okay, I promise. Tell me the address. Ye Wushang took a deep breath and reminded him, I hope you can keep your word. If anything goes wrong again, don't blame me for turning my back on you. Don't worry, I promise I won't. Seeing Ye Wushang agreed, Lan was overjoyed and quickly said, tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, Luo Chen Club. Okay, I'll be there on time. Agreed. Ye Wushang walked down the hillside without even looking back. Miss, forgive me for being blunt, this guy named Ji does have some strength. But you think too highly of him. At the charity dinner tomorrow night, Jialong may take action. Can he really guarantee your safety? Just then, the bald man walked over with a bad tone. They are all Lan's bodyguards, but they are usually under the jurisdiction of Ghost Hand and mostly operate on the periphery. Now that Ghost Hand is gone, their strength is average and they are unable to take on the important task. But Ye Wushang was extremely arrogant. Even the eldest lady had lowered herself to the status and almost begged him, but he still acted like that. This made him feel dissatisfied, and the other bodyguards also expressed their doubts. Shut up, everyone. You are not allowed to slander Mr. Yi. Lan cried out, raised her head and looked at Ye Wushang's departing back, and said thoughtfully, how can a sparrow know the ambition of a swan? Mr. Yi's strength is for more than what you see on the surface. I believe that he is the most suitable person to deal with Jialong. Excellent medical skills. Great martial arts skills. Including keen insight. These are what she observed from the other person. I don't know why. She actually felt that the other person was like a layer of fog, deeply attracting her to explore. My heart is beating fast. Unconsciously, her pretty face became shy. Ahem. Accompanied by a cough, Ye Wushang, who was leaning against a tree to rest, woke up. When he reached out and touched it, he found that there was not only more blood in his palm, but it was also coagulated, which was a sign that his condition was getting worse. It seems that refining ordinary medicinal herbs and taking them will not have much effect. Not only does it fail to alleviate my symptoms, it also doesn't help much in improving my cultivation. I practiced all night, but it was almost all in vain. My cultivation level is still at the peak of the 9th level of the Qi condensation realm, and I still can't break through the barrier. Ye Wushang sighed dejectedly and looked towards the foot of the mountain, as if thinking about something. There was an orphanage there, and children were playing and fighting in the courtyard. Among them, there was a little girl with delicate looks but lifeless eyes, sitting in a wheelchair, motionless. Wuyo, wait for me. When I get the Hanlong grass tomorrow, I will be able to break through to the 2nd level of the Yinchi realm. By then, I will be able to cure your dementia, and you will be able to tell me our life stories. The little girl, named Ye Wuyo, was his biological sister. 3 years ago, before her mother passed away, she told me that she had a younger sister who lived in this orphanage. She forced herself to wake up her sister no matter what. Only in this way could she learn about her life experience and find clues about her father's disappearance. She was poisoned. The poison is very strong, and with his current strength, it is completely impossible to cure it. Later, after repeated research, he finally came to the conclusion that when his cultivation level was raised to the Yinchi realm, then she could break open the acupoints, trace the source of the problem, clear out the toxins, and restore her to normal. Ding-ling-ling. Just then, the cell phone beeped. 5:30 p.m. I made an appointment with Lan yesterday that I would arrive at Luochen Club before 6 o'clock to escort her and serve as her personal bodyguard for a night. In this way, he would be able to get the green dragon grass as he wished. He took a deep breath, and without thinking too much, he hailed a taxi and drove towards the Luochen Club. Luochen Club is a high-end service center that integrates food, drink, entertainment and fun. It is under the management of the family guild, but the protagonist tonight is the Yin family. The territory belongs to the guild, but the organizer is the Yin family. From this we can see that the Yin family has a special status in the family. At 6 o'clock in the evening, luxury cars and celebrities gathered. But at this moment, almost everyone looked in the same direction. Isn't this Lan Ruoshue, the eldest daughter of the Lan family, who is known as the flower of Beijing and Han? Zizi, this look and this figure are countless times better than those of celebrities and internet celebrities. She is not only beautiful, but also very capable. She single-handedly took the company public in just 3 years. I heard that she got divorced 2 days ago. Now's our chance. After getting off the luxury car, Lan Ruoshua walked towards the entrance of the club with a happy face. She was dressed up tonight. She was wearing a purple-black long dress inlaid with diamonds, which was fitted at the waist and brought out her curvy figure to the fullest. Her delicate face was covered with thick makeup, but it did not give people a feeling of vulgarity. Instead, it had a sense of scorching sun. Especially her long legs, covered in attractive black stockings, and the sound made by her high heels, seemed to be very alluring. Ruoshua, first of all, congratulations on your company's successful listing. Then, congratulations in advance on winning the market agency rights for Angia and making the company bigger and stronger. A young man in a suit and tie, wearing a pair of black-rimmed glasses, walked up to Lan Ruoshua and said teasingly. His name is Sun Chuanji, and he is Sun Chuanlong's elder brother. Chapter 12. Are you following me? Chuanji, why are you here? When she saw Sun Chuanji, Lan Ruoshua frowned slightly. Sun Chuanji deliberately moved closer and said with a smile, of course I came to congratulate you. The people here tonight are all high-class people. I know almost all of them. Let me see if I can help you build some connections or something. Hearing this, Lan Ruoshua's cheeks flushed slightly, and she said embarrassedly, Chuanji, you are too polite. Before, I asked Xu Wei to talk to Chuanji, but he insisted on telling your family. Later, it was you who comforted your brother. Otherwise, if things get out of hand, I'm afraid both our families will lose face. Thank you. Sun Chuanji smiled and waved his hand, saying, Ruoshua, you are being too formal. My brother and your sister are getting married soon. From now on, we are all one family, and we should not have different opinions. He smiled generously and didn't care. In fact, when he learned that his brother was beaten, given his temper, he would definitely not let Ye Wushang go. However, they are divorced. At this time, if he could help Lan Ruoshua, it would definitely bring them closer to each other. From the moment he first saw Lan Ruoshua, he was deeply fascinated by her. I swore at that time that I would not marry anyone else in this life. For the sake of lifelong happiness, I will settle this account with my brother later. Young Master Sun, what you said makes sense. In my opinion, if Miss Shuang marries young Master Long, and you can also marry Boss Lan, it would be double happiness. Xu Wei smiled flatteringly. Sun Chuanji was so happy that he was bent over with joy. However, Lan Ruoshua glared at Xu Wei, signaling her not to talk nonsense. She was very grateful that Sun Chuanji could help. But now, she just wants to develop her career and has no plans to get married again. She only treats Sun Chuanji as a friend. Moreover, it is a business interest relationship. By the way, Chuanji, you just said congratulations to me for getting the agency rights for the Yin family. Where did you get that from? Getting back to the point, she came here today to discuss the issue of agency rights. But until now, she hasn't even got the qualification for the auction. Only by sitting there at the auction can you compete for the agency rights. She has asked many people for help, but has not received any response so far. Sun Chuanji smiled and said calmly, I'm very familiar with the Guild Secretary General, and I'll get you the auction qualification in a moment. When the competition comes, I will use my father's connections to help your Lan family get the agency rights. Isn't this congratulations to you? Real? Xu Wei widened her eyes in disbelief. Lan Ruoshua's breathing became even more rapid, and she said excitedly, Chuanji, you are not kidding me, can you really get the qualification for the auction? That is. Sun Chuanji held his head high and said proudly, the Secretary General is my buddy. It's just a matter of a word. As for the agency rights, although it's a bit troublesome, my dad has a good personal relationship with Nqingua, the head of the Yin family, so there's no problem. After getting the confirmation, Lan Ruoshua was ecstatic. Once the agency rights are obtained, with the resource advantages and the reputation of the Yin family, the Lan group will surely be able to move to a higher level. She couldn't hide her excitement and thanked him repeatedly. Thank you, Chuanji, you have helped me a lot, I don't know how to thank you. I just said, we are family, so we should keep our differences. We are friends. Sun Chuanji narrowed his eyes and wandered back and forth on the other person's body. That attractive figure, like a peach, made him distracted, and he teased, but if you really want to thank me, then treat me to a meal. I heard that you are a good cook, and it just so happens that I just bought a set of high-end kitchenware at home. As the saying goes, a good horse needs a good saddle, good tools, plus your cooking skills, it's delicious just thinking about it. Heard. Lan Ruoshua frowned. If this could be successful, it would really be a huge help to her. Cooking to thank someone is fine, but you can go to his house. Men and women should not touch each other, and she doesn't have much feeling for the other party, which is probably not a good thing. Just when she didn't know how to refuse, her eyes suddenly darkened and she frowned and asked, why is he here? In the crowd, Ye Wushang got off a taxi and walked straight towards the gate of the club. Xu Wei raised her eyebrows, and when she saw Ye Wushang, she couldn't help but complain. How come this idiot is like a fly, he's everywhere? Needless to say, he must have followed us here secretly. Mr. Lan, he might want to remarry you, so please don't agree to his request. Ruoshua, marriage is a serious matter, it's not a joke, you have to be careful, you can't fall into the same trap twice, right? Sun Chuanji followed to comfort him. I just made the request and saw that Lan Ruoshua was about to agree. As long as she comes to my house, I will find a way to make it a done deal with her. But who knew that this trash would suddenly appear, and it was simply a jinx, ruining all his good things. I know what's going on, don't worry. Remarriage is impossible. With the help of Sun Chuanji, he will get the agency rights of Anjia, and by following the trend, the Lan family will only become stronger and stronger. But he is self-indulgent and has no desire to make progress. People with his personality are completely incompatible with me. However, as they were husband and wife, and her sister had smashed the pillar of his house, she still felt a little apologetic and planned to make things clear. After all, Grandpa has clearly said so. If I don't bring him back to see my grandfather, my position as president will be in jeopardy at any time. Wushang, don't look for me anymore, I'm here. Seeing Ye Wushang looking around, Lan Ruoshua quickly walked up to him and said, I called you before but you didn't answer. Now you are secretly following me again. I really don't know what is going on in your mind. Ye Wushang was stunned. He didn't expect to meet the other person here. However, she really felt very good about herself and thought that she was the one who came to find her. Ever since the phone call yesterday, he had already given up on the other party. I was just looking for Lan, who said she wanted me to be her bodyguard, but now it's time, but I haven't seen her anywhere. She doesn't answer the phone, doesn't reply to text messages, and I don't know what she is doing. Who said I was here to see you? Ye Wushang's expression was indifferent. At this time, Xu Wei stepped forward and said disdainfully, "You are still pretending after being discovered. You are such a disgusting loser. All the people here tonight are famous people from Beijing and Han. Besides Mr. Lan, who else do you know? You're not here to see Mr. Lan, are you here to be a waiter?" Speaking of this, she crossed her arms over her chest, looked at Ye Wushang, and said sarcastically, "Even if you are a waiter, you have requirements. Why don't you look in the mirror? Your entire body is worth no more than 200 yuan. Do you have the qualifications? All the people here tonight are big shots. Who wouldn't crush you to death if they made a move? Who would want you if you look like this? Don't mess with some important person. You won't even know how you died. Get out of here now." After saying, Xu Wei came over and pushed without getting tired of it. But before she could touch Ye Wushang, the other party suddenly attacked and slapped her hard in the face. "Talk, don't do it. Touch me again and I'll kill you." Chapter 13, Confession Rejected. Looking at Ye Wushang's ferocious eyes, Xu Wei retracted her tongue and quickly shut up. "I've known him for 3 years. I've never seen him so angry. In fact, when she heard that he beat Sun Chuanji, she thought it was a joke. But now, you are so rebellious, you actually dare to hit someone." Seeing this, Sun Chuanji shouted loudly. He thought this was a good opportunity to show off, but before he could act, Lan Ruoshue suddenly stopped him. "Chuanji, let me handle it." She glanced at Xu Wei's flushed cheeks, glared at Ye Wushang, and said disappointedly, "Ye Wushang, you are really unreasonable. It was wrong for you to follow me. Xu Wei was just stating the facts. But you beat her in front of me. You know, she is not only my assistant, but also my good friend. I now demand that you apologize to Xu Wei immediately." Lan Ruoshue was arrogant and looked down on others. This is also a true portrayal of the couple's relationship during their 3-year marriage. But it's all over now. "No." Ye Wushang shook his head and refused. "She is just a bad mouth, she deserves to be beaten. Lan Ruoshue, we are divorced now. Your words are no longer valid for me." After saying, he turned and walked away. "Stop!" Lan Ruoshue roared, rushed forward and stopped the other party. "Ye Wushang, is it so difficult to admit your mistakes? Is Xu Wei wrong? Aren't you just following me and looking for an opportunity to ask me to remarry you? Since you are asking for help, you have to act in a begging manner. I can't accept you in the way you are now." Oh. She actually thought that I wanted to ask her to remarry? He had already given up on the Lan family, and even if she was willing, he would not agree. "First of all, I didn't follow you. Secondly, I'm here because I was invited by my friend. She is also a guest at tonight's dinner." Har har. Before he finished speaking, Sun Chuanji suddenly burst into laughter. He put his hands in his pockets, looked at Ye Wushang jokingly, and said sarcastically, "Useless, do you want to make me laugh to death? You are the only one who has friends here? What kind of friends? Beggars? Those who invited you to eat leftovers. What's the point of just talking tough? If you have the guts, call someone over to see for yourself." Laugh. At this moment, an emergency brake sounded. A red convertible Bentley sports car stopped at the door and a woman got out of the car. This woman, with delicate features and a graceful figure, was wearing a dark blue strapless long dress, which made her look sexy and elegant. Her every move and gesture cannot conceal her noble temperament. If Lan Ruoshue is a gorgeous red flower, then she is a rhododendron. At this moment, she was holding an expensive suit in her hand and walking slowly towards Ye Wushang in high heels. "Wushang, I was not satisfied with the work of the previous tailor, so I changed to another tailor, and now the custom-made suit has been made. I'm late, you won't blame me, right?" Speaking of, she actually took the initiative to reach out and hold Ye Wushang's arm. Ye Wushang was stunned. It turned out that she was late because she went to make a custom suit for herself. "I thought she would stand me up. Han Longgrass is extremely important to him. It is not only related to improving his cultivation, but also the only hope for healing his sister. It's okay, I just got here a while ago." Ye Wushang subconsciously pulled his arm away and said calmly, "Missin, men and women should not touch each other, please respect yourself. I'm just here to take a look." There's no need to make a new set of clothes for me. It's a bit expensive. He knew very well that the other party was trying to help him out. However, after experiencing Lan Ruoshua, his attitude towards women now is to keep a distance from them. All he wanted was to cure his sister, find his father, and reunite his family. As for other things, don't consider them for now. Certainly. And Lan is the daughter of a wealthy family, but now she is willing to sacrifice her own reputation in order to help him. He was very grateful to a girl for being able to do this. Wushang, who can tell what will happen in the future. Although we are just ordinary friends now, maybe we will be boyfriend and girlfriend in the future. Don't worry, I will try my best to make you accept me. Hearing this, the guests who had been very fond of Lan almost vomited blood. Is there something wrong with this kid's brain? A beautiful woman took the initiative to throw herself into his arms, and he actually refused. This thing won't work, will it? Everyone looked at each other in bewilderment and had heated discussions. When they learned that Ye Wushang and his friend was this beauty, Lan Ruoshua and the other two were dumbfounded at first, and then shocked. They never expected that Ye Wushang did not lie. Judging from the way this woman is dressed, you can tell that she comes from a noble family, so it is normal for her to attend tonight's dinner. But how could he know such a person? By the way, Wushang, what are you talking about with them? Are they all your friends? And Lan changed the subject. He turned his head and looked at Lan Ruoshua and the other two. She's my ex-wife. Ye Wushang pointed at Lan Ruoshua and said calmly, as for the two of them, they are just outsiders. And Lan raised his eyebrows, a little surprised. In fact, she had not had time to investigate Ye Wushang's background, but she habitually thought that a man as outstanding as him must have been married long ago. Moreover, if the relationship between husband and wife is harmonious, they will definitely love each other more. But I didn't expect that he was divorced. It turned out to be my ex-wife. For some reason, Lan felt secretly happy. But he didn't show it, instead he subconsciously extended his hand and said with a smile, "Hello, nice to meet you." "Hello." Out of politeness, Lan Ruoshua shook his hand, but quickly pulled her hand back. Although he seemed calm on the surface, there was a raging storm inside, which was quite surprising. His friend. She is extremely beautiful. Noble temperament. No matter which aspect, he is not inferior to me. Especially her curvaceous figure, which made her feel a little inferior. Wushang, when did you have a friend like this? Lan Ruoshua took a deep breath, her face full of confusion. Why don't I know? So what do you know about me? Ye Wushang said calmly, you've never tried to understand me. Don't you think it's ridiculous to ask this now? Lan Ruoshua hesitated to speak. That's true. She had indeed never thought of understanding him. In her opinion, if she works hard, he must also work hard. Some things can be understood by both parties without saying them. Pity. He didn't understand his own painstaking efforts. After all, they were two parallel lines that would never intersect. However, looking at his eyes at this moment, she suddenly felt that the other person was so strange. Let's not talk about that. The dinner will start in a while, so ask your friend to wait. Come here for a moment, I want to talk to you. Grandpa is the one who has the final say in the family. No matter what kind of achievements he has made, he has the final say in the Lan family. Since he made the request, I have to comply. No matter what, Ye Wushang must be persuaded to go back and at least explain things clearly to his grandfather. The divorce was voluntary for both of them, and she did not force him. If you have anything to say, just say it here. Ye Wushang refused bluntly, we are already divorced. If we are alone together, I am afraid that someone will misunderstand. Chapter 14, Not Recognizing Gold and Jade. Lan Ruoshua's expression changed, and she said in a deep voice, Ye Wushang, I just want to talk to you, what's your attitude? What's my attitude? Ye Wushang said coldly, you want to talk to me, do I have to talk to you? You? Lan Ruoshua hesitated to speak. It's only been 2 days since the divorce, how come he changed so quickly? She felt a little ashamed for having misunderstood him twice before. I thought about talking to him. Even if we couldn't be friends, at least we wouldn't become enemies. But why is he so stubborn now? Wushang, I hope you can calm down. Lan Ruoshua suppressed her anger and said earnestly, I know you are unwilling to divorce me and you are angry. But you have to understand that after my group goes public, my future development will get better and better. This completely mismatched marriage with you will only become a stumbling block on my road to success, do you understand? You are a man, and a man should be able to let go of things, instead of arguing with me here. Ye Wushang was amused. He didn't expect that the other party would feel so good about himself. He was still upset about the divorce. But now, he has completely let it go. You're right, I have indeed let it go. So, I have nothing to talk to you about. Speaking of. He winked at Lan, indicating that he should leave. Don't leave. Lan Ruoshua became anxious. He subconsciously pulled Ye Wushang and deliberately separated them. I don't know why, even though we're divorced, I still feel uncomfortable when I see him with other women. She herself couldn't tell whether it was anger or jealousy. Ye Wushang, don't think I don't know what you are thinking. Want to show off your masculinity in front of other women? I'm telling you, this is the behavior of a weak person. Only a weak person would maintain your ridiculous self-esteem in this way. Lan Ruoshua was a little out of control. He actually yelled at Ye Wushang. Seeing this, Sun Chuanji hurried forward, whispered a few words of comfort, then glanced at Ye Wushang and said sarcastically, "Listen to me, rubbish. Ruoshua is the CEO of a listed company, and you are just a useless loser. She's giving you face by talking to you, don't be shameless. If you get angry, don't blame me for being rude to you." After saying this, he turned his head and looked at Lan beside him, and reminded her, "Miss, forgive me for being frank, you look pretty, but your eyesight is really not flattering. This Ye Wushang, apart from washing clothes and cooking, has no other skills. You are attracted to him, it's simply. I am happy, I like it, what's it to you?" And Lan interrupted. She held Ye Wushang's arm tightly and said sweetly, "In my eyes, Wushang is the best man in the world. Some people have eyes but cannot recognize the value of gold and jade. Isn't it possible for me to bring the treasure home?" Xu Wei curled her lips and complained, "Forget it, young master son, you advised her kindly but she didn't appreciate it. She will be cheated and cry when the time comes. What's the point of being pretty? Without brains, you're just a vase at best." "Why?" Sun Chuanji sighed and shook his head, saying, "Your kindness is being taken for granted. You were acting, weren't you?" Looking at the two of them hugging each other, Lan Ruoshua said with a gloomy face, "In fact, they have been together for a long time, right? Ye Wushang, I never thought that you would cheat on me during marriage. I asked you for a divorce, and you pretended to be bitter and resentful. Actually, that's exactly what you wanted. You felt very happy, right?" Ye Wushang smiled bitterly. He didn't expect that the other party would look at him like this. "Whatever you think, I have a clear conscience. On the contrary, you, who flirted with Sun Chuanji all day long, are now divorced and can openly attend the charity dinner." Ye Wushang sneered. Lan Ruoshua wanted to explain, but Sun Chuanji raised his head and nodded, "So what? Why don't you look at yourself in the mirror? Who do you think you are? How can you be compared to me? Ruoshua divorced you because she has come to her senses and is about to change her ways. I will take care of her from now on. It has nothing to do with you." After saying, he subconsciously hugged Lan Ruoshua's shoulders, but she subconsciously avoided him. He sorted out his thoughts and tried to calm down. "Ye Wushang, don't think that I will change my mind by provoking me in this way. I said that if you can't improve yourself, there will never be a chance between us. Promote himself." And Lan curled his lips and sneered, "His ability has reached its limit, how can he improve it? It seems that it is a wise decision for you and Wushang to file for divorce. Because you really don't deserve her." Lan Ruoshua frowned. She didn't expect that Ye Wushang would deliberately find a woman to make her angry. "We said we should part ways amicably, but he turned against me." This was difficult for her, who always had a strong personality, to tolerate. "It took me only 3 years to take the company public. And what else is he capable of, besides cooking better meals and washing clothes faster? You actually said I'm not worthy of her. He he." And Lan chuckled, leaned on Ye Wushang's shoulder, and said solemnly, "You have been married to Wushang for 3 years, but you don't know that your husband is an expert in both medicine and martial arts. You don't even know how capable he is, and you still dare to say that you are worthy of her. If you keep talking, you'll only bring shame upon yourself." Speaking of this, she glanced at Sun Chuanji and taunted him, "You're so shameless and say in front of me that Wushang's ability is not good. In my opinion, you are not only ignorant, but also have no vision. You compare this kind of person to Wushang. Is he comparable? Lan Ruoshue was stunned. She didn't expect that this woman could be so eloquent. Are you also an expert in both medicine and martial arts? Joke. Hey, how can you talk like that? Sun Chuanji was furious. Being scolded for no reason made him very angry, and he immediately shouted, "Listen carefully, I am Sun Chuanji, the future head of the second-rate Sun family, with overwhelming power. And he, a good-for-nothing waste, he." And Lan sneered and said, "How dare you show off a second-rate family like this? If the Sun family really falls into your hands, I'm afraid it won't be even third-rate in a few days." After saying, she looked at Ye Wushang, her face full of hope. It won't be long before Wushang will become someone you look up to. His achievements are beyond the imagination of brains like yours. He tried the suit on Ye Wushang for a few times and said gently, "Wushang, let me put on the suit for you myself." Ye Wushang did not refuse. In front of everyone, he let Lan personally change his suit for him. Without saying a word, the two of them walked into their hall hand in love. Bar, vixen. Xu Wei spat. Sun Chuanji was even more furious. This piece of trash is disgusting. Not only did he cheat on his wife, he even brought his mistress to show off in front of his ex-wife. I will definitely give him a good beating later. Forget it, Chuanji. Lan Ruoshue waved her hand and sighed. Just consider it as something I owe him. We're even now. From now on, I have nothing to do with him anymore. She was exhausted. I really don't want to have anything to do with Ye Wushang. He finds it disgusting. As for Grandpa's request, let us take it easy for now. Anyway, there are still 2 days left, and the most urgent task is to resolve the issue of the agency rights for settling down. Boss Lan. Just then, an urgent shout rang out. A bald man came running quickly. This was the person that Lan Ruoshue had paid to help her get the auction qualification. Vice President Gua. Seeing the other party, Lan Ruoshue hurried forward and asked, "How is the auction qualification?" "It's over." Vice President Gua shook his head and said, "There are only 30 auction qualifications in total, but they were all sold out just now. Others also want to get the agency rights of the Yin family. I can't do anything about your matter." After saying, he stuffed the bank card into Lan Ruoshue's hand and then ran away. What can I do? If I can't even get the auction qualification, how can I get the agency rights? Xu Wei said dejectedly, "It's all that jerk's fault. Whenever you run into this unlucky guy, nothing good will happen. What are you panicking about?" Sun Chuanji looked calm, looked at Lan Ruoshue, and said soothingly, "Ruoshue, don't worry. I'll call the Secretary General right now and make sure it's done for you." Chapter 15. You only deserve to eat leftovers. Watching Sun Chuanji go to the side to make a phone call, Lan Ruoshue felt uneasy and whispered, "Xu Wei, do you think Sun Chuanji can handle it?" "Of course." Xu Wei was full of confidence and comforted him, "Don't worry, Mr. Lan. Young Master Sun is the young master of a second-rate family. Who dares not to give him face? Even if you are the Secretary General of the family guild, you still have to follow his lead. Besides, in all the years I've known him, I've never seen anything he couldn't accomplish. Young Master Sun is so good, I think you should just be with him, Mr. Lan. She was bribed by Sun Chuanji many years ago. Whenever we get the chance, we'll bring them together." The other party promised that if they could really bring the two of them together, he would give them money and power. "What nonsense are you talking about? Stop talking nonsense." Lan Ruoshue gave Xu Wei a cold look. She and Sun Chuanji are just ordinary friends. At most, they are relatives only because of the relationship between her sister and Sun Chuanji. As for the rest, she had no other ideas for the time being. After divorcing Ye Wushang, she only wanted to run her career and didn't want to have a relationship. It would be best if it works. If not, young Master Sun. Not finished yet. Xu Wei's eyes suddenly lit up. She looked at Sun Chuanji, who was beaming with joy, and asked, "Well, what did the Secretary General say?" "No problem." Sun Chuanji waved his phone and said proudly, "It's just a phone call. I was told to wait in the lobby and I'll have someone bring the auctioneer's license to me later." "Real?" Xu Wei's eyes widened. Lan Ruoshue could not hide her excitement and said gratefully, "Thank you for passing on your knowledge." This time, the agency rights for Angier are very important to me and the future development of the Lan family. If I get the bidding qualification, I may get the agency rights. If that's the case, It's okay, Ruoshua. It's my job to help you. Sun Chuanji moved closer and smelled the other person's fragrance, which was like a fine wine stored in a cellar, making him intoxicated. He licked his lips and said, "But I still say the same thing. If you really want to thank me, cook me a meal. I am looking forward to it." Lan Ruoshua's expression changed slightly. She was not mentally prepared yet and didn't know what to do when a voice came from the door calling the guests to come in. "Chuanji, let's talk about this later. Let's go in first. I don't know when I will get the auction qualification. I still need to make some preparations so that I can explain it to the Yin family when the time comes." After. She walked in hurriedly. Sun Chuanji's face darkened, and Shu Wei quickly comforted him. "Young master son, don't be discouraged, keep working hard. I know Ms. Lan. She didn't reject you, which means she agreed. As long as I get the auction qualification, if I can help her get the agency rights, I will definitely win. I'll lend you my good words." Sun Chuanji laughed. "Our agreement is still valid. As long as you help me get Ruoshua, I will give you whatever you want. Just wait and see." Shu Wei was delighted and pulled Sun Chuanji and quickly walked into their hall. Arriving at their hall, Ye Wushang subconsciously pulled out his arm. And Lan smiled awkwardly and apologized. "I'm sorry, Mr. Yi, did I overact just now?" "No. Ye Wushang is not an ungrateful person. I am very grateful to you for helping me out. However, men and women should not touch each other, so it's better for us to keep some distance. Mr. Yi, you saved me and my grandfather, and you are my bodyguard tonight. How can you be considered a friend? It's okay to keep your distance, but I have a request, and I hope you will agree to it." And Lan blinked her eyes were clear, as if they could speak. "To be honest, it's very fascinating. Go ahead and I'll listen." Ye Wushang deliberately avoided the other person's gaze. "Since we are friends, it's quite strange for you to keep calling me sir. If possible, can I call you Wushang directly like I did just now?" Ye Wushang was stunned. After all, the other party helped me, and it didn't seem good to refuse directly. What's more, it's just a matter of name, so it's not a big problem. "No problem, you can call me Wushang from now on." "Real?" And Lan was as happy as a child and said with a smile, "Then you can call me Lan Lan from now on. It sounds more like a friend this way." By the way, Wushang, I think we acted really well just now. Actually, wouldn't it be better if we just turn our fake play into real life and just become husband and wife? I think your ex-wife is quite weird. If we were really together, wouldn't she be pissed to death?" Ye Wushang's expression changed, and he said solemnly, "Lan Lan, enough is enough. I was just joking to liven up the atmosphere. Don't keep such a stern face, it's so ugly. Bossan. At this moment, a beautiful office lady came running over and handed the document under her armpit to Lan. "This is the list of bidders for tonight's charity auction. The Secretary General asked me to take a look at some waiting lists that have just been submitted. Please take a look and see if there are any problems." And Lan nodded slightly. After flipping through the pages, he suddenly frowned. Lan Group, Lan Ruoshua. She knew very well who the other person was. She turned her head and looked at Ye Wushang, saying, "Wushang, don't worry. I will take care of this anger for you. Still want to run for the right to represent my own family?" "No way. Speaking of." She picked up the pen and started to draw. Lan. Ye Wushang stopped him and shook his head, saying, "At it, one thing at a time. Although they are divorced, the relationship between husband and wife is still there, and I know Lan Ruoshua, she is still capable. Stay here and observe for yourself. If she is really in your best interest, then it's not a bad idea to work with her." And Lan looked at him in surprise. She didn't expect that Ye Wushang was so loyal and righteous. Even though his ex-wife bullied him so badly, he still cared about her. Although he felt somewhat aggrieved, one could also see from the side that he was a kind-hearted person and he did not take advantage of his ex-wife's misfortune. Capable and of good character. Isn't this the kind of man I've been looking for? Suddenly, her heart was beating again, even more passionately than before. "Okay, stay." And Lan took a deep breath and handed the document back. "Don't tell anyone about this. Yes, Mr. N. The secretary leaves. And Lan wanted to ask more, but Ye Wushang waved his hand and said, Lan, let's talk about business. You asked me to be your bodyguard, mainly to protect your safety. I will follow any instructions you give me. And Lan smiled and said, it's not that serious. I have competitors, but I don't know if they will come or interfere. What I mean is that you lead the bald guy and the others to guard the hall. Check everywhere and take more looks. It would be best if everything is all right. If something really happens, you can do it first and report later. After saying. She glanced and saw the bald man leading a dozen men running over. Bossin. Well, from now on, Wushang will be responsible for all security work tonight. All your actions must be under his command. You must do whatever he tells you to do. If you don't listen, or if you mess up, I won't forgive you. Heard. The bald man and others looked unhappy. But they did not get angry. They all nodded and said, please rest assured, Mr. N. We will definitely follow Mr. Ye's instructions. Okay, Wushang, I'll be busy now. If you need anything later, call me. After saying that, Lan turned around and left. Ye Wushang asked subconsciously, security is no problem, but what do I want? Don't worry, I brought you the hanlong grass. I'll give it to you right after the dinner. Agreed. Lan left. Baldy and the others were patrolling around under Ye Wushang's arrangement. The focus is on patrolling for suspicious persons and searching for food and drinks on the table. It is unlikely that someone will do something in public, but if someone does something bad in secret, you should be extra careful, especially when it comes to eating and drinking. With his level, he's good at fighting, but how can he be responsible for security? Can he compare with our brother Tai Shou? I'd better pray that nothing happens. If Jielong and his gang really want to cause trouble, relying on him, I'm afraid it will be too late. Okay, stop talking. He is a big shot in front of Mr. N now. We can't afford to offend him. Baldy and others each have their own duties. Although the discussion was quiet, Ye Wushang still heard it. He was indifferent to their complaints, but the name they mentioned made him think. Dragon. I remember hearing Lan Ruoshua mention that there is a Jielong group in Jinghan City. It's quite powerful. Could it be Lan's rival? I just can't figure it out. He simply didn't think about it any further and instead patrolled the hall. When he came to a dining table, he found that the food looked a little strange. Just as he was about to pick it up to check, a familiar mocking voice suddenly came from behind him. You useless piece of shit, if you want to eat and drink for free, then wait. We, the guests, haven't eaten yet, and you dare to touch the food. Don't you know that you are only fit to eat leftovers? Chapter 16. This dish is poisonous. Ye Wushang was stunned. He put down the plate and turned around, only to see Sun Chuanji leading Lan Ruoshua and the other girl walking towards him. Only then did he notice that the table he was inspecting was occupied by guests who were eligible to bid. You loser, you still dare to say you didn't come in to eat the leftovers. So, we caught you in the act, right? Shu Wei curled her lips, pushed Ye Wushang away, wiped the chair like a servant, and said flatteringly, Young Master Sun, President Lan, come and sit down. From what I can see, that woman was also invited by you to act here, right? Sun Chuanji sat down, crossed his legs, and teased, you shamelessly said you were a guest at the dinner, but you were allowed to steal other people's food here. Ye Wushang, I never thought you would be so mean. Ye Wushang, you really disappoint me. Lan Ruoshua's expression changed slightly, and she sighed, I didn't believe what Shu Wei said just now, but you are sneaking around here serving dishes. If you really want to eat, just tell me. It's not like I can't bring you in. Besides, when I divorced you, I gave you money, but you refused it and insisted on pretending to be stubborn. And you're going to embarrass yourself here? Even though we're divorced, if people know you're my ex-husband, how do you expect others to see me? Looking at her with a look of disappointment, Ye Wushang had a blank expression on his face. The previous confrontation at the gate had already made him completely despair of the opponent. Not to mention remarrying, he's not even interested in being friends anymore. My friend asked me to be in charge of the security of the venue tonight. I was just checking security issues just now. It has nothing to do with what you said. Speaking of. Ye Wushang was about to pick up the plate, but was stopped by Sun Chuanji, who sneered, Are you still pretending in front of me? What friend? Is it the woman at the door? Who does she think she is? She asked you to be in charge of on-site security. The organizer of tonight is the infamily. What is she? Put your plate down quickly. If you want to eat, go to the kitchen. This is for guests who are qualified to bid. You don't even have the qualifications to touch it. After saying. He glanced at her and Xu Wei immediately came over to urge him. But having learned from the previous experience, she just complained verbally and didn't dare to take any action. Seeing the two of them on the verge of a fight, Lan Ruoxue didn't want the situation to happen again, so she said, Wushang, just listen to my advice. This is for guests who are qualified to bid. If you make any moves here and someone sees you, you'll probably be kicked out. I don't have the qualifications to bid, do you have them? Ye Wushang was speechless. They are husband and wife after all, why does Lan Ruoxue always put all the blame on herself? It was explained that they were checking the on-site security situation, but she actually thought the same as people like Sun Chuanji. Excuse me, who is Mr. Sun Chuanji? Just then, a waiter hurried over. I am. Sun Chuanji stood up. The waiter immediately handed over the bidding qualification certificate and said respectfully, Hello, Mr. Sun, Secretary Liu asked me to pass this to you. He said he has done everything you asked him to do. Here is the certificate you wanted. Sun Chuanji took it, looked at it, and handed it to Lan Ruoxue. Ruoxue, here, take the ID. Your name is on it. It's a real name system. Then. He waved his hand and the waiter hurried away. Xu Wei immediately smiled and said, Congratulations, Mr. Lan, you have obtained the bidding qualification certificate. Next we can prepare for the agency rights. This is all thanks to young Master Sunday. The quota was full, and many people tried to get in through the back door, but young Master Sun got it done with just one phone call. Unlike some people, who can do nothing but lick the plate. He talks tough all day long. I don't know how he can be so shameless. If I were him, I would have hit myself to death with a piece of tofu. Sun Chuanji held his head high and said calmly, These are all trivial matters. I will have to find a way to help Ruoxue get the agency rights later. Although it's a little difficult, my dad has a very good relationship with the infamily. As long as we can communicate more, it won't be a big problem. Lan Ruoxue put the qualification certificate into her bag and said gratefully, Thank you for passing on your knowledge. To show my gratitude, I agree to your request. I'll go to your house and cook a meal for you myself. Real. Sun Chuanji was overjoyed and said excitedly, Ruoxue, that's great. I'm looking forward to your cooking. After we eat your meal, let's. Rolling around in the sheets again, ho. Ye Wushang was heartbroken and disheartened. Although he no longer had any attachment to her, they were still husband and wife after all. She actually agreed to go to another man's house in front of him. It seems that 3 years of marriage means nothing in her eyes. Ye Wushang, could you please stop speaking so harshly? Lan Ruoxue blushed and said delicately, Chuanji helped me, so I treated him to a meal. What's wrong? It's nothing. They so-called helped you, so you just cook for them. I've been cooking for you for 3 years, and I haven't heard a single nice word from you. Besides, how do you know that he helped you get the qualification to bid? Xu Wei was instantly amused. If it's not young Master Sun, could it be you? I just. That's enough, Ye Wushang. Lan Ruoxue said angrily, It was not until today that I realized that you are not only bad-tempered, but also so petty. Just because you don't have any ability, you don't allow others to have any ability. I, Lan Ruoxue, have come this far thanks to my own abilities and the help of my friends. What have you done as my husband? Why, if we're really divorced, you can't stand seeing me get along well. You just want me to be unlucky, right? Ye Wushang's face darkened. Before she could speak, Sun Chuanji soothed her, Okay, Ruoxue, what's the point of talking to a loser who eats leftovers? Come on, sit down first. In order to help you, I paid for all the expenses in the hall tonight. I even had someone bring in the food from outside. Speaking of this, he shouted loudly, Where are the people? It's not enough to just serve the food, bring me the wine too. Upon hearing this, Ye Wushang frowned, Did you order all these meals in from outside? Just inspected. He felt that there was something wrong with the food and wine. In order to verify his guess, he even put a primer in a dish. What he didn't expect was that he was the one who brought in the food. He wanted to please Lan Ruoxue so as not to cause trouble, and he obviously knew that this was the Yin family's home ground and they would not act recklessly. From this, it seems that it was some kind of dragon that made the move in secret. Nonsense, I didn't call you, was it you? Sun Chuanji was very proud. Xu Wei's face was full of disdain. Even Lan Ruoxue was extremely disappointed with Ye Wushang. Just at this moment, following Sun Chuanji's instructions, the waiters quickly brought out the wine and food. The other guests thanked him one by one, and Sun Chuanji personally poured wine for Lan Ruoxue and said with a smile, "Come, Ruoxue, I'll toast you a glass. I wish you immediate success." "Thanks." Lan Ruoxue took the wine glass and drank it all. Afterwards, when the two sat down and were about to pick up the food, the test results came out. If the primer turns black, it means that the food and wine are poisonous, and highly poisonous. Don't eat it. Ye Wushang shouted loudly and snatched the chopsticks from Lan Ruoxue's hand. Lan Ruoxue's face darkened. "Ye Wushang, what do you mean? Just because you're angry, I can't even eat. Mr. Yi, don't think that just because you have a little bit of strength, you can tell Mr. Lan what to do." Xu Wei couldn't help but complain, "You have no ability at all, you just make a fuss all day long, who would care about you?" Sun Chuanji handed Lan Ruoxue another pair of chopsticks, put a crayfish in her bowl, and said with a smile, "Come on, Ruoxue, eat ours. Some people can't eat grapes and say they are sour. Don't pay attention to them." Bang! Before he could finish his words, as he watched other guests take their seats and pick up their chopsticks to taste the food and wine, Ye Wushang suddenly did something surprising. He pulled the tablecloth hard, and with a crackling sound, the food and wine spilled all over the floor. Chapter 17. This is for Lan. What the hell do you want to do, jerk? Sun Chuanji couldn't help but swear. Seeing Ye Wushang pulling the tablecloths one by one, and in a blink of an eye, all the food and drinks on more than a dozen tables were gone, his heart was bleeding. He spent a lot of money tonight, inviting a famous chef and using fine wine and delicious food, just to get closer to the guests. At the same time, she also won the favor of the Yin family, so that they would consider Lan Ruoxue more when choosing an agent. But now, everything has been messed up by this idiot. Waste, do you want to die? Xu Wei was so angry that she was shaking all over. She pointed at Ye Wushang and was about to curse him. But the other party's eyes were stern, which scared her back. "Boss Lan, please take care of this idiot. This is simply outrageous." She pulled Lan Ruoxue. Lan Ruoxue stared at all this in disbelief. "Ye Wushang, I didn't expect you to be so excessive. Just because you can't eat the food, you smashed the table and left everyone with nothing to eat. You get upset when I say a few words to you, and when you get upset you start to hit and smash things. How did you become like this? It's fine if you're willing to degenerate, but you actually did something like this. I really misjudged you." Face the cynicism. Ye Wushang remained indifferent and continued to do as he pleased. This caused the other guests to be confused and angry. They pointed at his nose and cursed him, and some of the excited guests were even about to take action when the bald man and others rushed over. "Mr. Yi, what's going on?" The bald man frowned. "I knew this stuff wasn't a good thing. He is more likely to cause trouble than to accomplish anything. Before the human dragon made a move, he took action first. These wines and dishes are poisonous. Quick! Tear down all the tablecloths, then go to the kitchen and fetch basins to make everyone vomit." Heard. The bald man frowned even more. "No way, Mr. Yi, this. Go quickly." Ye Wushang raised his voice. The cold eyes were frightening, as if they wanted to eat people. Although they were unhappy, thinking of Lan's words, they did not dare to disobey and ran away immediately. Is he really in charge of security? Xu Wei's face changed. The bald men were all dressed in suits, wearing headsets and security brooches on their chests. They were clearly the security for tonight, but at this moment they all obeyed Ye Wushang's orders and called him Mr. Yi. What's going on? Could it be that the woman is really her friend? Moreover, he has such a high status that he can even be transferred to security work. Lan Ruoxue stood there in a daze, breathing rapidly. Did I misunderstand him again? But even so, he shouldn't be so rash as to smash the food and wine. Just because he didn't get the qualification to bid and stole the limelight from Sun Chuanji, he got so angry. If you really care about yourself that much, what would you have done before? Soon, dozens of tablecloths were torn to the ground. The bold men each held 2 bowls, placed them in front of the guests, and urged them to spit out what they had just eaten. Don't spit. Sun Chuanji shouted, this guy is fooling you. He is a coward. He simply can't eat such good food, so he's venting his anger on purpose and doesn't want us to eat. Poisoning? I personally selected the food and hired the chefs and waiters. How could there be a problem? Heard. The guests nodded. Although the Sun family is only a second-rate family, Sun Chuanji's reputation in society is also average. But after all the guests tonight are rich or noble figures. If you really want to talk about poisoning, it's only because he is tired of living. Everyone saw the dispute between them. It was obvious that Ye Wushang was taking revenge. Boy, get out of here and stop making trouble. Tonight is the family's charity dinner, not your family's trivial matters. If you dare to mess around again, I will make you disappear from Jinghan City. Do you believe it? The guests were outraged. During the noise, they all took out their phones and pretended to call someone. For a moment, the whole hall was filled with smoke and chaos. Mr. Yi, let's go first. The bald man sighed. I knew this guy was incompetent and could only make a fuss. Tonight is the family dinner, and as Lan's bodyguard, he doesn't want to make a big deal out of it. While instructing other brothers to appease the guests, he pulled Ye Wushang aside, trying to calm the situation down. Bar, you bastard, don't let me see you again. Xu Wei curled her lips. Sun Chuanji sneered and joked, if you don't have the ability, you should be aware of it. If you try to pretend, you might end up being an idiot. Ye Wushang, please go away. I don't want to see you again. Lan Ruoshue completely gave up. I even felt there was no need to talk to him. She would take the initiative to explain to her grandfather. Even if it meant taking away her power, she didn't want Ye Wushang to set foot in the Lan family again. This person. Not only is he petty, but he also has low character. Does he have the strength to fight back against Sun Chuanji in this way? Puff. At this moment, a guest who was cursing suddenly felt a pain in his chest and vomited blood. Old picture. The man next to him quickly supported him and was about to ask him something when he screamed, "Arr," and fell to the ground. One after another. The guests who had drunk wine or eaten the food before either vomited 3 liters of blood or beat their chests and stamped their feet. There was a huge crowd of them, and they all fell to the ground. At first they could still shout and whimper, but later they couldn't even breathe. What's going on? The bald man was shocked. The other bodyguards also looked at each other in disbelief. And he really got it right. The food and wine are poisonous. Everything he just did was for everyone's safety. What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and bring the basin over and induce vomiting. Also, follow this recipe and go to the kitchen to get the seasoning. Use 70% ice water and 30% hot water, and mix it up for them to drink. Ye Wushang threw the prescription he had just written to the bald man. Human life is at stake, so the bald man dared not delay and quickly arranged people to act separately. Ye Wushang picked up the fuse and took a look at it, his face becoming extremely gloomy. Broken. The food and wine on this table are the most poisonous. It is thought that this is the seat where the qualified guests will sit. According to the rules, Lan would also come here and sit for a few minutes. In other words, the other party came for Lan. How could this happen? How did this idiot know that the food was poisonous? Xu Wei was horrified and said incredulously, but how come I'm fine? I am not qualified to eat it, but you are qualified to eat it. Ye Wushang sneered. Xu Wei rolled her eyes, and before she could respond, Lan Ruoshue shouted, Wushang, how did you know the food and wine were poisonous? Xu Wei must be fine if she didn't eat, but I just drank with Chuanji and she seems to be fine too. Does he really have medical skills? The woman said before that Ye Wushang was an expert in both medicine and martial arts. I thought she was joking, but now. The deeper the poisoning, the later the symptoms will appear. Ye Wushang lowered his tone. My mind was racing, thinking of a solution. But after hearing this, Sun Chuanji couldn't help laughing and said, I am dying of laughter. Can you make it up any more falsely? If it's really poisoning, the symptoms should be consistent. We're fine, which proves it's not the food and wine that's the problem. They look like this, they probably just have a stomachache, who would believe that? He was not panicked at all. First of all, he didn't think that everyone was poisoned. Secondly, even if you are really poisoned, you will be fine. When he clinked glasses with Lan Ruoshua, he pretended to drink, but actually poured it all out. It's not that I don't give you face, but I have been suffering from kidney failure recently and cannot drink alcohol. Otherwise, you will lose interest in women in the future. Wouldn't that be a waste? Plop. Suddenly, Lan Ruoshua, who wanted to ask more questions, felt as if her heart was being cut by a knife. She fell to the ground, holding her chest in pain. His face turned pale instantly and beads of sweat dripped to the ground. Boss Lan. Shu Wei was shocked and rushed over immediately. When she was about to help her, Ye Wushang shouted, "Don't touch her. She is too deeply poisoned. Any external force now could easily cause the poison to spread. By then, even I won't be able to save her." Chapter 18. Send him to the police station. Hearing this, Shu Wei was shocked. Then what are you still standing there for? Come and save Boss Lan. Although she looked down on Ye Wushang from the bottom of her heart. But he was right about everything. No matter if it was just luck or she really had the ability, she could only give it a try. But Sun Chuanji sneered and curled his lips and said, "He is a waste, what can he do? He still expects her to save people. I can't save you, can you?" Since he had no silver needle on hand, Ye Wushang had to pick up a box of toothpicks and quickly approached. He ordered Shu Wei to lay Lan Ruoshua down flat, prevent the blood from flowing back, and block the toxins at the acupuncture points. Through the method of acupuncture and sealing of points, toxins are absorbed, kept in place, and finally forced out. Sun Chuanji was speechless. Seeing that he was about to give Lan Ruoshua acupuncture, he sneered, "You useless piece of shit, don't blame me for not reminding you. I have been pursuing Ruoshua recently, and I am about to succeed. She is now my fiancée. If anything happens to her, I won't forgive you. Including the matter of you beating my brother, I will settle all the old and new grudges with you. Shut up." Before he finished speaking, Ye Wushang suddenly looked at him with a stern look in his eyes. "You should think about yourself first. You had people prepare all the food and wine, and now something bad has happened after eating it. If you investigate, I'll see what you'll do." Then he poured out all the toothpicks, put them in groups of 2, and started sewing. When Sun Chuanji heard his words, his pupils shrank and he began to murmur in his heart. "Yes. What is going on? I personally selected the chef and the wine shop, and they are old friends of mine. There is no reason why they would deliberately trick me like this. If it is true as this loser said, the food and wine are poisonous. If we trace back to the source, wouldn't I become the scapegoat?" Thinking of this, Sun Chuanji felt a little scared and subconsciously called the waiter over and asked, "Let me ask you, where are Mr. Feng from Zui Xiong Lu and Mr. Shu from Shuji Liquor Store? Tell them to come over here quickly. I want to ask them what the wine and food they got are about." The waiter made a bitter face and shook his head, saying, "The food and drinks are not from their store. Although you told them, someone later found them and offered them double the price, so they outsourced the business. As for who their boss is, we don't know." What? Sun Chuanji was shocked. This, a change of person. Seeing the guests suffering from vomiting and diarrhea and in great pain, he panicked. Is it possible that there is poison in this food and wine? Soon. Poke holes with a toothpick and move forward step by step. The techniques are so fast, dazzling and overwhelming. It would be more accurate to say that he is performing art rather than doing acupuncture. Beautiful. Nice. It makes one's heart beat fast and the passion surge. This idiot has some skills. Where did he learn this? Sun Chuanji frowned. Shu Wei is even more incredible. He and Lan Ruoshua had been married for 3 years, and he knew every detail. I've never heard of him using this kind of technique before. The woman before said that this idiot is an expert in both medicine and martial arts. I thought she was talking nonsense, but now it seems that it is true. Time flies. A few minutes passed in the blink of an eye. When all the bamboo sticks were inserted, Ye Wushang twisted the stick heads and infused spiritual energy into them. They all penetrated into the acupuncture points, and after neutralizing the toxins, he pulled them out one by one. As the last bamboo stick was pulled out, Lan Ruoshua's originally pale face slowly turned rosy again. With a muffled groan, she suddenly woke up. Boss Lan. Xu Wei was shocked and subconsciously rushed over to pick up Lan Ruoxue, asking with concern, "How are you? Are you okay?" "No, it's okay." Lan Ruoxue let out a long sigh and asked in bewilderment, "What's wrong with me? You just fainted. I was so scared." "Thanks to you." Xu Wei hesitated to speak. It turns out that this idiot really has medical skills. But she was unwilling to admit that the other party was capable. Even if Lan Ruoxue woke up, she felt that the other party was lucky. "Mr. Yi, the potion is here." At this moment, the bold man came over with a bowl of antidote that Ye Wushang had ordered prepared earlier. Ye Wushang personally brought it over and handed it to Lan Ruoxue. "Lan Ruoxue, the poison is still in your body. Drink it. You can spit it out after you finish drinking it. No harm." Lan Ruoxue was stunned. She didn't expect that he was the one who saved her life. The uncomfortable scene just now is still vivid in my mind. She thought she was definitely not going to survive, but who knew that not only would she wake up, but he would also personally bring her medicine. I suddenly felt a little guilty. Gurgle gurgle. After drinking. Puff. It sprayed out directly. Xu Wei was about to scold her when she suddenly discovered that the potion that Lan Ruoxue spat out was dark and sticky, even darker than her hair. It fell on the ground and corroded a large area, which was obviously a sign of poisoning. Yes, he is really poisoned. Xu Wei's eyes widened. Sun Chuanji couldn't help but breathe faster. Much more comfortable. Lan Ruoxue let out a long sigh, and her previously tense expression slowly relaxed. Ahem. Puff. Hum. At the same time, the other guests, after inducing vomiting and drinking medicine, vomited out more or less the toxins. Like Lan Ruoxue, their condition improved. After a while of relaxation, they all expressed gratitude and praise to Ye Wushang. "Thank you, young man. If it weren't for you today, I'm afraid we wouldn't be alive. You are a great benefactor. Thank you so much." The guests bowed and kowtowed in gratitude. Lan Ruoxue felt mixed emotions and wanted to speak several times, but swallowed her words back. "I misunderstood him. He wasn't causing trouble, but he was concerned about everyone's safety. Moreover, he is not completely useless. He actually has medical skills and has saved so many lives. Thinking back to how worried he was about me just now, he still had himself in his heart. The original sadness, disappointment, and disgust. Gone in an instant. Instead, there is an indescribable complex emotion. Xu Wei, take care of your boss Lan." Ye Wushang handed Lan Ruoxue to Xu Wei. He stood up, looked at the confused Sun Chuanji, and said indifferently, "How is it, Sun Chuanlong, have you found out the truth? You had someone send the wine and food here, and now they are poisonous. Everyone who ate and drank was poisoned. Why are you okay?" He wanted to pursue Lan Ruoxue, and he had no objection. However, this matter must be traced back to its source. If the matter is not thoroughly investigated, the person behind the scenes will probably cause more trouble. Hearing his words, Sun Chuanji trembled and almost lost his balance. "How should I know? What does this have to do with me? You asked someone to get the wine and food, and you told me it's okay. You bastard, did you poison us? What hatred or grudge do you have? If you don't make this matter clear today, I won't forgive you." The other guests were outraged. While cursing, some people even wanted to attack him. "Bold, send him to the police station. It would be best for the police to investigate," Ye Wushang ordered. The police have resources, whether it is Skynet surveillance or background tracking, it is always better than what Sun Chuanlong wants. The bold man was originally dissatisfied with Ye Wushang, but he just discovered the problem and solved it in time. Act with vigor and determination. Easy to get. This made him admire Ye Wushang very much, and he immediately ordered his two younger brothers to come over and capture Sun Chuanji. "Let me go!" Sun Chuanji shouted, "I didn't poison anyone. Someone is framing me maliciously. Ye Wushang, you are a piece of trash, that's you. You want to hurt me on purpose, don't you?" Ye Wushang said expressionlessly, "Man does what he does, God sees what he does. The police will make their own judgment on whether it is your fault or not. Let him go." Before he could finish, Lan Ruoxue suddenly stepped forward to stop him and said solemnly, "Chuanji is here to help me today. I believe the poison in the wine and food has nothing to do with him. Wushang, tell them to let him go. Although she was grateful to Ye Wushang for saving her. But this matter was very strange, and she believed in Sun Chuanji's character. Moreover, he also needs to help him solve the issue of Anjia's agency rights, and the Lan Group's business will also need him to take care of it in the future. There was no way she was going to let him be taken away like that. Chapter 19. You have to continue to protect me. You believed him, and it has nothing to do with what he did. He had people bring in the food and drinks. Now that something has gone wrong, he has to take responsibility. Faced with the plea for mercy, Ye Wushang remained indifferent. Lan Ruoshua's face darkened and she said in a cold voice, Ye Wushang, don't be ungrateful. If you send Chuanji to the police station today, the consequences will be serious. So what? Ye Wushang had no expression on his face. Lan Ruoshua was furious, you beat his brother, and now you're sending him to the police station. If the Sun family pursues this, they won't let you off. Ye Wushang sneered and asked, are you afraid that he won't forgive me, or are you afraid that your Lan family will be implicated? What do you mean? Lan Ruoshua was speechless. She didn't know why this person was so twisted. This was all for his own good, but he turned the tables. I don't care what you think, anyway, you can't let anyone send him to the police station. I don't care what you say, if something goes wrong, he will be responsible. After saying. Ye Wushang stared at the bold man, what are you still standing there for? Why don't you take the person away? Yes, Mr. Yi. The bold man went there personally, escorting Sun Chuanlong out the door. Sun Chuanlong struggled and shouted, just wait for me, I won't let you go. Seeing that the situation is out of control. Although Lan Ruoshua was grateful to Ye Wushang for saving her. But he was more worried that the Sun family would take the opportunity to retaliate. He immediately pulled Shu Wei and whispered, Shu Wei, hurry up and call Sun Chuanlong. Tell him to find a way to get his brother out, and keep this matter secret for me. Don't let the Sun family know about it. Otherwise, not only will my Lan family's business be in jeopardy, but Ye Wushang will also be implicated. Shu Wei looked at him with disdain, Boss Lan, you're overthinking it. This idiot is the one who caused the trouble. Why should we clean up his mess? Isn't he quite capable? Isn't he just pretending to be stupid? Then let him handle it. Given your relationship with young Master Sun, he shouldn't be angry with you. A few words of comfort. Seeing that the time was almost up, she said, Boss Lan, the dinner is about to start, let's think about the agency rights. Everyone. At this moment, the beautiful office lady came to the stage, holding the microphone, and said loudly, for safety reasons, the Yin family has decided to temporarily cancel tonight's dinner. As for when and where the auction will be held again, we will notify you later. However, I'm afraid that only companies with bidding qualifications can participate. Security personnel have been arranged outside the door for everyone, please leave in an orderly manner. Heard. Everyone regrets. Although it's a bit disappointing, life is more important. After the poisoning incident, everyone lost interest in attending the conference. Without saying a word, they lined up to leave. Shu Wei was about to speak, but Lan Ruoshua suddenly said, Shu Wei, go find Chuanlong first and make sure this matter is suppressed. Mr. Lan, didn't I just say that? Just go when I tell you to go, why are you wasting time talking? Lan Ruoshua raised her voice and said solemnly, no matter what, Wushang just saved me, I can't let him be retaliated by the Sun family because of me. Besides, the head of the Sun family has always looked down on my Lan family. I don't want this matter to get any bigger. Go quickly. Shu Wei hesitated to speak. She knew that once Mr. Lan made a decision, no one could change it. Although she was happy to see Ye Wushang being dealt with by the Sun family, she was also afraid that the Lan family would be implicated. After some hesitation, he finally nodded and left in a hurry. No harm. Lan Ruoshua tried to remain calm, walked forward, and said seriously, I think we still need to talk. I have nothing to discuss with you. Why are you so stubborn? We are husband and wife after all, do you care so much about your ridiculous self-esteem? Lan Ruoshua said with a gloomy face, it's up to you whether to talk or not. Anyway, I have conveyed Grandpa's words to you. Wait. Ye Wushang subconsciously called out to her, you said, it was Grandpa who asked you to come and talk to me. Married into the Lan family for 3 years. He did the laundry and cooked, and worked like a slave. It can be said that no one was nice to him except his grandfather. Although they have no blood relationship, his grandfather treats him as his own son. Especially on rainy days, his illness would flare up and it was his grandfather who would give him a bath with some medicine to relieve the pain. He has done me a favor. He can ignore the Lan family, but he cannot ignore his grandfather. He became ill after he found out we were getting divorced. You have to let me go back and talk to you face to face. I'm not looking for you to give you a chance, I'm just bringing a message to my grandfather, don't think too much about it. Things have come to this. She also felt that everything Ye Wushang did was to redeem himself. But Ye Wushang had no interest in talking to her about love matters. Grandpa has always been in good health, but now he is ill. It seems that his divorce from Lan Ruoshua has dealt him a heavy blow. It is reasonable for him to explain clearly, at least to comfort him. Wait for me at the door. I'll take care of some things and then go back with you to see Grandpa. After saying, Ye Wushang turned around and left. Looking at his departing back, Lan Ruoshua fell into deep thought. I tried to talk to him many times, but he refused to talk. As soon as his grandfather was mentioned, he wanted to go back immediately. Who am I in his heart? Or does he think it's useless to make peace with me and wants to use my grandfather to put pressure on me? Ye Wushang, even though you just saved me, in my eyes, you are still that househusband who doesn't strive for progress. Even if Grandpa asks us to remarry, I won't agree. Don't expect anything else. In the manager's office. Under the guidance of the bald man, Ye Wushang found Lan. Wushang, come, sit down and talk. And Lan took the initiative to pour a glass of water for Ye Wushang. She saw everything that happened in the hall just now through the surveillance camera. I have to say that Ye Wushang is really capable. He can actually find out that someone has poisoned the food and wine. Moreover, he was able to eliminate the toxin and save everyone in such a short time. Otherwise, as the organizer, the Yin family cannot escape blame. No need to sit down, I'm here to get my things. Ye Wushang shook his head and said bluntly, you asked me to be your bodyguard tonight and be responsible for on-site security. Someone poisoned the food and drinks, I've already dealt with it, so it's not over yet. And Lan interrupted, took out a beautifully decorated box from behind, and handed it to Ye Wushang, this is the hanlong grass you wanted. But I hope you can do this bodyguard job longer. We found out someone had poisoned someone, but we haven't caught the person who did it. The danger still exists. I hope you can keep doing this until the ghost hand comes back. Ye Wushang frowned. Smelling the abundant spiritual energy, he knew that the box should contain hanlong grass. With it, you can improve your cultivation and heal your sister. However, he did not reach out to take it, but said in a deep voice, Missin. Call me Lan Lan. Okay, Lan Lan, as a friend, you asked me to keep you safe tonight, and I did it. But now, you want me to continue to be your bodyguard. Do you think this is a bit too much? And Lan chuckled and shook his head, first of all, I'm not threatening you. The things are here, you can take them anytime. Secondly, you also said that as a friend, you protected me. So now, in the name of friendship, I also ask you to protect me for a few more days. At least, let me finish dealing with the matter of the Yin family agency. Of course, if you don't want to, I won't force you. The hanlong grass is right here. Speaking of. She held the box out in front of her. Moral kidnapping. Ye Wushang was helpless. He knew very well that she would give the things to him even if he disagreed. But doing so would make one seem a little unjust. Okay, I'll protect you again, anytime, any place. Ye Wushang nodded and put the box into his pocket. Tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock, in Villa 101 of Panlong Mansion, I need to do it in absolute confidentiality. And Lan took a deep breath and warned, if the other party fails to succeed tonight, they will definitely not give up. I hope you can be fully prepared. You don't need to remind me. I also want to know what the person behind this is planning to do. Ye Wushang knew it very well. The person who poisoned should be the Jiarong group. In addition to the unknown grudges with the Yin family, it seems that he also has business dealings with the Lan family. Even if not for the Lan family, for his grandfather, he has to solve the problem. Agreed. Ye Wushang took the hanlong grass and left the office. At this moment, the bald man couldn't help but move closer and whispered, Miss, I don't understand you. I admit that Mr. Yi is capable. The detoxification incident in the hall just now made me convinced of him. If you really admire him, why not just hire him with a large sum of money? As for hiring him temporarily over and over again, you don't understand. And Lan shook his head and said thoughtfully, Ye Wushang is not a vulgar person. He will not bow down to money or sex, nor will he bow down to power. If you want him to do things for you willingly, you have to give to him sincerely. I believe that every time I hire him, he and I will get closer. I used to hate Jelong Group, but now, I look forward to Jelong Group causing trouble for me every day. Chapter 20 Prince Wang Jelong. After leaving the club, Ye Wushang followed Lan Ruoshua towards the parking lot. You just went to look for that woman, didn't you? Lan Ruoshua deliberately slowed down her pace, walked side by side with Ye Wushang, and said earnestly, Wushang, some words may be hard to hear, but I still have to say them. That woman is obviously of high status. You two are not from the same world at all. You should break up with her as soon as possible, otherwise you will be fooled by her and have no place to cry. Ye Wushang stopped. Lan Ruoshua. He suppressed his anger and said coldly, Don't say that I have nothing to do with her. Even if I do, you don't need to care. Why are you so ungrateful? I'm thinking about you. I think a man is not suitable for dating, let alone starting a family, before he has a successful career. This is what she really thinks. Since I divorced him, he has changed almost completely. She was really afraid that if it happened again, the other party would not be able to bear it. Even though he is now hot-tempered and petty, he just risked his life to save me. That means he still has a conscience. Although they are divorced, their love is still there. No matter what, she still hopes that the other person lives a good life. Just finish talking to my grandfather later. I'll give you everything I promised to give you when we divorce, and don't even think about finding another woman to make a living. Lan Ruoshua. Ye Wushang raised his voice and said seriously, I'll say it one last time. You have no business interfering in my affairs. I can go back to see Grandpa, but we're on the same path but different roads. You drive your car, and I'll take a taxi. After saying. He turned and walked away. Lan Ruoshua quickly chased after him and blocked his way. Ye Wushang, explain it to me clearly. What do you mean by the same path but different paths? Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The words were not finished. Dozens of figures suddenly appeared. In a blink of an eye, they surrounded the two of them. You little bastard, you dare to ruin our business. I'll kill you. A man with a scar on his face was weighing a steel pipe in his hand, his face full of flesh trembling. The other men pressed forward step by step, looking aggressive. You, who are you, and what do you want to do? Lan Ruoshua looked horrified. Ye Wushang subconsciously left her behind and said coldly, If you have anything to do with me, it has nothing to do with her, let her go. These people. He has a strong body and great strength. Especially from the aura that has been accumulated over the years, one can tell at a glance that they are all martial artists. They are quite powerful and are coming with great momentum, clearly from the Jelong group. He had failed in his previous attempt to poison the club, and now he was targeting me. I don't care. But Lan Ruoshua must not be in any danger. Even though they are divorced, he can't just ignore the love they have for each other. Who the hell do you think you are, a living Buddha? The scarred man yelled, Brother Jelong put so much thought into this day, but you ruined it all. If we don't kill you, we won't be able to vent our hatred. Get started. Following his order, more than a dozen men rushed forward. No harm, be careful. Although Lan Ruoshua was afraid. But they are husband and wife after all, and Ye Wushang just saved his life. Seeing that this group of people came with ill intentions, even though she knew she was no match for them, she still moved around and stood forward, trying her best to protect Ye Wushang. Ruoshua, I don't need your help, just get out of the way. Bang! As they were pushing and shoving, the man in front came over with a whip and hit Lan Ruoshua directly on the head. With a crisp sound, his head exploded and he fainted. Ruoshua. Ye Wushang was shocked. He held her in his arms and laid her down, and after settling her down, he stood up and rushed over. Bang! With one palm, he knocked the man's steel pipe flying away, then he leaped up and hit the man's head with the steel pipe. After falling, he knocked down several other men who had come running to him. Immediately following, he held the steel pipe and hit the other dozen men on the head, abdomen, and other parts of their bodies like a killing god. Wherever he passed, either bones cracked or people vomited 3 liters of blood. In a flash, more than a dozen battle-hardened men were all defeated. Why are you so strong? The scarred man was stunned. Without hesitation, he turned around and wanted to run. Boom! Ye Wushang threw the steel pipe directly at him, hitting the back of his head. He felt pain in his body, screamed, and fell to the ground in a mess. Just as he was struggling to get up, Ye Wushang stepped on his chest. You, don't mess around. Looking at Ye Wushang's murderous eyes, the scarred man said tremblingly, I am Brother Long's man, if you dare to touch me. Laugh. Before he could finish his words, Ye Wushang picked up a dagger and cut off his finger. Arr! The scarred man screamed in pain, covering his bleeding palm, tears streaming down his face. You bastard, you dare to cut my fingers, I. Shhhhhhhh. Ye Wushang attacked again. Cut off 6 of his fingers one after another. Blood flowed everywhere, soaking the floor in a blink of an eye. It seems that you intend to stick to your guns, right? Ye Wushang waved his dagger and said indifferently, all right, I'll investigate slowly after I finish dealing with you. As soon as he finished speaking, his eyes became stern, and he was about to swing down. No, brother, I was wrong. I was really wrong. The scarred man was terrified. This kid is really cruel. He even cut off 6 of his own fingers, torturing himself to death. Now I want to kill myself. If you want to make money, don't risk your life. Although he was loyal, his life was in danger now, so he could not care less and begged for mercy. I am just working for someone else. If you want revenge, go find Brother Long. It has nothing to do with me. Explain. Who is Brother Long? The scarred man quickly said, yes, it's Wang Jielong, the prince of Jielong Group. What is the grudge between him and the Yin family? I don't know the details. The scarred man shook his head and said, anyway, there are business connections and emotional involvements. Recently, I don't know who put pressure on them, causing them to take action early to deal with the Yin family. That's all I know, brother, please forgive me. Bang! Hanshu knocked the scarred man down with one punch. There was no evasiveness in his eyes, so he must not be lying. Without thinking too much, he turned around, picked up Lan Ruoshue and put her back in the car. First, Shu Lang poisoned him. Then there was poisoning in the hall. Finally, someone was sent to assassinate him. It seems that the grudges within the Li family are not as simple as they appear on the surface. Why? If I want to complete this temporary bodyguard job, I'm afraid I have to deal with the Wang family first. At this moment, the unconscious Lan Ruoshue woke up. No injuries. Seeing Ye Wushang, Lan Ruoshue was terrified and sat up subconsciously. But my head still hurt a little, and I gasped when I moved the slightest. Ruoshue, take a rest first. I'll drive you back. Chapter 21 Mother S. Relics. Wushang, are those people just now Wang Jielong's men? Lan Ruoshue was nervous. Jielong Group is a famous enterprise in Beijing and Wuhan. Not only does it have a first-class status, but its industries are also spread across major fields in Beijing and Wuhan. Whoever can hold on to the Jielong Group will be halfway to success in Jinghan. The Lan family also wanted to curry favor with the emperor, but they were never successful. Just a few days ago, with the help of the Sun family, we finally established a communication mechanism. If it is ruined because of this, it will not be worth it. Rest first, I'll call you when we get there. Ye Wushang. Lan Ruoshue sat up and said solemnly, tell me quickly, what did you do to those people? I got beaten up. What? Do you know who Wang Jielong is? If you offend him, everything will be over. Although I have never seen Wang Jielong. But there have long been rumors in society that this person is cruel and ruthless, and will never let go of any grudge. If he targets anyone, no one will have a good ending. Are you afraid of being implicated? Ye Wushang curled his lips. What do you mean? I'm worried that he will retaliate against you, so don't be ungrateful. Lan Ruoshue was angry. In the past, he didn't dare to say anything other than what he said. But now, every word he says is offensive, and he doesn't even take me seriously. Then you don't have to worry about it, just take care of yourself. Shut up. Lan Ruoshue interrupted. Although he didn't appreciate it, he could still vividly remember how he had just saved himself. She suppressed her anger, pondered for a moment, and said, Anyway, you better hide yourself for the next 2 days and don't let Wang Jielong find you. I will find a way to contact the other party, and then I will find you after the negotiation is completed. Then you will go with me to apologize to the person, understand? Ye Wushang said calmly. Of course I will go, but not to apologize. First they poisoned the club, and then they sent someone to kill me. I need an explanation for this matter. Idiot. Lan Ruoshua slammed the seat heavily and said through gritted teeth. You really don't know your place. Do you think it's the Sun family? With my mediation, they won't touch you for the time being. But that's Wang Jielong, the prince of Jielong group. Don't even mention you. Even if my Lan family and Sun family join forces, we are no match for him. You're still going to look for him? It's so windy that you're not afraid of biting your tongue. Ye Wushang didn't answer. He just drove silently and deliberately played the song at the loudest volume. Every time she wanted to speak, the other party would deliberately step on the brakes. After a while, Lan Ruoshua had no choice but to give up. You can give up on yourself, but I can't just sit back and watch. As husband and wife, I will help you solve this problem. It's up to you whether you appreciate it or not, but you just saved me, I have to repay you. After being determined, she leaned back on the cushion and closed her eyes. I was thinking about how to negotiate with Wang Jielong. We must not only prevent the Lan family from being implicated, but also stop the other party from retaliating against Ye Wushang. Half an hour later, we arrived at the Lan family. As soon as I entered the door, I ran into Sun Chuanlong and Lan Rushuang, who were in a hurry. You piece of trash, you dare to take my brother to the police station. I'll kill you. Sun Chuanlong was furious and rushed over and grabbed Ye Wushang by the collar. Ye Wushang pushed him to the ground and said indifferently, the police arrested him. It has nothing to do with me. You piece of trash, stop talking nonsense. Lan Ruoshua roared, it was you who had young Master Sun arrested and taken to the police station. You deliberately framed him. You haven't finished beating brother long before, and now you're doing this again. I'm going to fight you. Cursing and swearing. The two were about to rush over again, but were stopped by Lan Ruoshua. All right, stop making trouble. If Grandpa hears this soon, no one will be able to have an easy life. You guys go about your business, I'll take care of this, go. Now the truth is out. The person who poisoned the food was Wang Jielong, and had nothing to do with Ye Wushang or Sun Chuanji. The reason why Sun Chuanji was sent to the police station was obviously because Ye Wushang was waiting for an opportunity to take revenge. She knew it in her heart, but it was not convenient for her to say it out loud. Ye Wushang is so narrow-minded. You useless bastard, just wait for me, I won't let you go. Brother Long, let's go pick up your brother first, and then we'll come back to settle the score with him. As the two of them left, Lan Ruoshua sighed and said helplessly, Wushang, what can I say about you? You have offended all the Sun brothers, and now you have offended Wang Jielong. So what? Ye Wushang was indifferent and said calmly, Boss Lan, we are divorced. You don't need to worry about my affairs. Whether it's the Sun family or the Wang family, just come at me. I don't care. After saying, he went straight to the second floor. Lan Ruoshua stomped her feet in anger. She really didn't expect that he would be so stubborn. Knowing that something is impossible but still doing it, what is the difference between this and being a reckless person? Second floor bedroom. Master Lan was lying on the hospital bed, drowsy, and kept muttering Ye Wushang's name. Ye Wushang walked up quickly, grasped his hand, and said with a sob, Grandpa, Wushang is here. Wushang? Yes, is that you? You are finally back. Seeing Ye Wushang, Mr. Lan was overjoyed and subconsciously wanted to sit up. But he was so weak that he lay down again just after he got up. Grandpa, don't get excited. Lie down quickly. The doctor said you need to rest well now. Lan Ruoshua said a few words to comfort him, touched Ye Wushang's arm, and reminded him, Wushang, tell Grandpa quickly. We are getting divorced. Is this your own will? I didn't force you to do anything, did I? Ye Wushang glanced at her and said nothing. He just took Master Lan's pulse and found that there was no serious problem. It was just caused by anger. But his silence made Master Lan feel that he had something to hide. He patted his shoulder and said ashamedly, Wushang, don't be afraid. Grandpa will take care of it for you. No matter if it's the two sisters or anyone else, no one can drive you away. Ye Wushang shook his head and said calmly, Grandpa, Ruoshua didn't lie. I wanted to divorce you on my own accord. I came here today, firstly to see you, and secondly, to say goodbye to you. No harm. Master Lan widened his eyes and said anxiously, "Good boy, Grandpa knows you have been wronged. Don't worry, Grandpa will take care of it for you. No one can bully you. Lan Ruoshua, I order you now to remarry Wushang as soon as possible and apologize to him." "Apologize?" Lan Ruoshua frowned slightly and said reluctantly, "I didn't do anything wrong, why should I apologize? He should look for his own reasons for the way our marriage has come to this point. Grandpa, although you are my elder, you cannot force me. You stinky girl." Master Lan was furious and raised his hand to slap him, but was stopped by Ye Wushang. He took a deep breath and said calmly, "Grandpa, please don't make things difficult for Ruoshua. Even if she doesn't file for divorce, I will file for it. You have been kind to me, so I have worked hard for you for 3 years without complaint. However, Ruoshua likes things to be exciting and vigorous, while I prefer things to be calm and indifferent. She pursues power and fame, but I just want my family to be happy. She and I have different values. If we force ourselves to be together, it will only lead to pain. Instead of sleeping in the same bed with different dreams, it is better for everyone to go their separate ways." Speaking of this, he took a step back, knelt on the ground, and kowtowed 3 times to Master Lan. "Grandpa, I will never forget your kindness. But my marriage with Ruoshua has come to an end. It's impossible for us to be together again. Take care of yourself." After saying, he stood up and walked out the door. Mr. Lan burst into tears and was heartbroken. After hesitating for a moment, he could not help but shout, "Wushang, come back. It is my Lan family that is sorry for you. Grandpa has nothing to give you. I can only return to you what your mother left me before she died. I just ask you not to hate Ruoshua, and even more so, don't hate the Lan family." Chapter 22. My sister is critically ill. Ye Wushang stopped. "Mother's stuff. Isn't there just a workshop? Why is there something else?" If someone else said this, he might still have some doubts. "But my grandfather has been so kind to me, it can't be false." He immediately turned back and asked, "Grandpa, you just said that my mother left something for me, what is it?" "This is the medicine." Master Lan took out a crumpled prescription from under his pillow and handed it to Ye Wushang as if it were a treasure. "This is what your mother gave me before she died. You are said to get sick every time it rains, and your whole body aches when you get sick. Only by soaking in this medicine can your symptoms be relieved. Before you were still in the Lan family, I could provide it to you at any time, but now that you and Ruoshua are divorced, I should return it to you. This can be considered as my compensation to you." Ye Wushang took the prescription with trembling hands. No wonder. Every time he had an attack, Mr. Lan would take himself a bath. I thought it was his interest and he wanted me to accompany him. In fact, it is for the sake of my own illness. Water of heavenly fire. This is indeed a medicine for bathing, used to soothe the blood and boost the spirit. But the medicinal materials in it are not only rare in the world, but also priceless. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be similar to the heaven and earth domination art that he practiced. Could it be that there is some connection between them? "Grandpa, what else do you know about my mother?" Ye Wushang couldn't hide his excitement and asked, "For example, her origin, background, or does she know anyone related to her?" "I don't know." Master Lan sighed, patted Ye Wushang's hand, and said, "Wushang, the medicine on this prescription is hard to find. You have to find it yourself in the future. In addition, although you and Ruoshua are divorced, in my heart, you will always be my grandson-in-law. The Lan family will always welcome you. I still say the same thing, I hope you don't hate us." "Don't worry, Grandpa. I know what to do." Ye Wushang stood up, put the prescription in his pocket, and left the room. Lan Ruoshua sent him to the door and said calmly, "Ye Wushang, now Grandpa has agreed, we will no longer have any relationship in the future. But we are husband and wife. Considering that you saved me in the club before, I will not ignore Wang Jialong's affairs. Wait for my call later. When I ask you to apologize, remember." Ye Wushang shook his head and said indifferently, "Since you said that we have no relationship anymore, then you don't have to worry about my affairs. Besides, I have no other intention in saving you. If it was someone else, I would have saved him too." After saying, he turned and left. Soon, it disappeared from sight. You want to save face but suffer in vain. I don't care about you. You won't even know how you died. Having backbone and having ability are two different things. I've told you so much, why don't you understand? Lan Ruoshua shook her head and sighed. The next morning. Boom. Ye Wushang suddenly opened his eyes, and a gleam of light flashed in his eyes. He punched out subconsciously, and with a crisp sound, the 100-pound rock in front of him shattered into pieces as he hit the object from a distance. Qi Tempering Realm, Level 1. Ye Wushang couldn't help but roar excitedly. Pick the green vine and medicinal root of hanlong grass, smelt them, and you will get a blood-activating pill. After taking it, his body was filled with spiritual energy. With one go, he broke through the 9th level barrier of the Qi Gathering Realm and reached the 1st level of the Qi Tempering Realm. His strength is like a fighting bull, and his body is like a phantom. The 5 senses and spiritual awareness are more powerful than ever before. My internal strength has increased several times. This way, it should be no problem to clear the blocked nerves in Wuyo's brain. Ye Wushang stood up. Carefully put the remaining half of the hanlong grass back into the box. Even a single root of this hanlong grass is of great use, but it's a pity that he doesn't have a good cauldron, so he can't refine it into a pure elixir. Otherwise, it could help him improve his cultivation by several levels. It seems that I have to find a way to get a better cauldron to make the elixir. As for and sort out the other 2 missing medicines. After I finish dealing with the current matter, I will ask Lan. The hanlong grass was found in his family's medicinal field, so maybe there will be some unexpected gains. Ye Wushang entered the orphanage and came to his sister's room. At this time, Aunt Su, the dean, and a group of people in white coats were surrounding the bed, looking solemn and whispering. An old man with slightly grey hair, who looks to be nearly 60 years old, is treating Ye Wuyo. Mr. Tang, how is Wuyo? How is she doing? Aunt Su asked nervously. Why? Elder Tang sighed and shook his head, saying, this child is already terminally ill. There is no way to save him. President Su, please accept my condolences and arrange your funeral arrangements. Younger sister. Hearing this, Ye Wushang was shocked, quickly pushed through the crowd and ran in. At this time, Ye Wuyo lay quietly on the hospital bed, his face pale and his lips chapped. She closed her eyes tightly, her breathing was faint, and the vital sign meter next to her was tending to a straight line, as if her life had come to an end. Mr. Yi, I'm sorry. It's my fault that I didn't take good care of Wuyo and let you down. Dean Su felt ashamed of himself. 3 years ago, he brought Ye Wuyo to the orphanage and asked me to take good care of her. Although she tried her best, Ye Wuyo's condition continued to deteriorate. Especially today, she suddenly had a seizure, convulsing all over and foaming at the mouth. In desperation, she used her personal connections to invite Dr. Tang, a famous doctor at the Municipal People's Hospital. I thought it would get better, but who knew, he didn't even treat it. He just took a quick look and gave a conclusion. She felt ashamed facing Ye Wushang. My sister is not dead. I have just broken through to the Qi tempering stage, and now is the time to heal my sister. He was also waiting to be reunited with his sister and learn from her about his father's whereabouts and his own life experience. President Su, please prepare a set of silver needles for me. After taking his pulse quickly, Ye Wushang's tense expression relaxed. She still has a pulse, although it is very weak, but as long as the spiritual energy is infused, it will be no problem to wake her up or even cure her. Young people. Elder Tang saw the relationship between Ye Wushang and his sister, and comforted them, please accept my condolences. Your sister is already incurable. I told you, my sister is not dead, she will be fine. Ye Wushang roared, urging Dean Su to prepare the silver needles. But Dean Su said, there are no silver needles in the hospital, not to mention Wuyo. As long as I am still alive, I can cure my sister. If there is no one in the hospital, please go buy one, and hurry up. Ye Wushang stood up, carefully moved his sister up a little, and prepared for acupuncture. Dean Su looked embarrassed. Elder Tang shook his head and said, young man, I have been practicing medicine for more than 20 years. I can tell the condition of the patient at a glance. Your sister is truly beyond help. There is no point in treating her. It is better to let her rest in peace. Shut up. Ye Wushang said with cold eyes, just because your medical skills are not up to par doesn't mean others can't. I said my sister is not dead, so she is definitely not dead. If you don't give me the silver needle, I will find it myself. Elder Tang had a different expression on his face, and asked suspiciously, "You want silver needles, don't you want to give her acupuncture?" "Good." Ye Wushang nodded heavily. Mr. Tang couldn't help but smile bitterly. This young guy, at such a young age, actually knows acupuncture. It's understandable to feel sad. But if you act recklessly, it would be disrespectful to the deceased. Moreover, even if he really has medical skills, looking at the little girl's condition, even a god cannot save her. Forget it, I'll go buy it for you. Dean Su was helpless. She knew that Ye Wushang was unwilling to accept this reality. I failed to take good care of his sister, so I can only try my best to make up for it. As she was about to leave, she was stopped by Elder Tang. I do have a set of silver needles that I can lend to this young man. Ye Wushang looked up at him. Elder Tang immediately ordered, "Go, take out the set of silver needles handed down from my ancestors from my medicine box and give it to him." "Mr. Tang." A young man following Mr. Tang said unhappily, "This person is dead, why save him?" "This is not. The deceased is her sister. He wants to send her off for the last time." "Is that a problem?" The young man was frightened. Although he was unhappy, he did not delay and immediately took out a pack of silver needles from the medicine box. When handing it to Ye Wushang, he also reminded him, "Hey, this is our Mr. Tang's exclusive silver needle, and it is also passed down from our ancestors. Use it carefully, kid, but don't break it, or I won't be able to afford the compensation even if I sell you off." Ye Wushang said nothing. I took the bag of silver needles and just touched it lightly, and I felt a warmth as thick as a mountain. That is the great righteousness. It is obvious that this old man Tang's silver needles have saved many people. Touch it gently, be careful not to damage it, otherwise. "Okay, you can back off," Mr. Tang said seriously. Although he didn't believe that Ye Wushang could bring the dead back to life. But I admire the stubbornness in his bones. It is rare for young people today to be loyal and righteous. I'm just afraid that he will get deeper and deeper into it. I hope that after trying, he can let it go. Chapter 23. Thousands of needles from the heavenly ghost. "Xiao Wang, Xiao Shu, the two of you go out and get ready. Wu Yo will not be able to survive soon. We need to arrange his funeral as soon as possible." Dean Su whispered an order, and the two employees left quickly. Looking at Ye Wushang, who was thinking about curing his sister's illness, she sighed in her heart. It was obviously impossible and he was too stubborn. Coming to Elder Tang's side, he whispered, "Elder Tang, when do you think Wu Yo will?" "Hush." Mr. Tang made a gesture to shut up. Looking at Ye Wushang's delicate technique, he looked surprised and doubtful. At first, he thought that the other party was unwilling to face reality and just wanted him to fulfill his wish. But now it seems that he has some medical skills, especially acupuncture, which he has some tricks up his sleeve. Signaling Dean Su not to speak, he walked up slowly and asked in a low voice, "Young man, do you need my help with anything?" Ye Wushang glanced at him and nodded. "Tang Lao, please help me stabilize these two main needles. Double needle acupuncture can stabilize the heart meridian. As long as the heart meridian is stable and slowly recovers, then other tendons, meridians and acupoints will be able to flow in all directions. It's just that acupuncture requires following a step-by-step approach and making progress step by step." But Ye Wushang did the opposite, inserting needles on the soles of the feet and then pushing them towards the head. The places where the two main needles are inserted do not seem to be the acupoints, but near the tendons and veins. Does he really know how to do acupuncture, or is he just doing it randomly? Mr. Tang was not sure. But I did it anyway. After all, the patient was already terminally ill and couldn't get any worse. Think of this. He held the two silver needles in his hands. What was incredible was that an inexplicable force was pulling him, making him feel a little at a loss as to what to do. At this moment, Ye Wushang suddenly changed his acupuncture technique, turning double needles into multiple needles. He grabbed a handful and inserted them into his waist, abdomen, and legs respectively. Fast, accurate and ruthless. Among the dazzling acupuncture techniques, he actually pierced the corresponding acupoints accurately. This. Mr. Tang almost couldn't help but scream out. His strange acupuncture method of inserting needles according to the acupoints is simply unheard of. Not to mention myself, even if I were a top acupuncture master, it would be impossible for me to hit all the acupuncture points with dozens of silver needles in an instant. Could it be that this young man really has medical skills? It looks good. But the patient is seriously ill and it is almost impossible to save him. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Just as Mr. Tang was pondering, Ye Wushang increased the speed of acupuncture. It was dazzling, and he moved as fast as a shadow. Each time the needle is inserted, it is quickly removed, and this cycle should be repeated at least 10 times. The originally chaotic layout of the silver needles actually formed the shape of the word ghost. Densely packed silver needles. Just like the electrodes on a therapeutic device. Neat and tidy, not messy. Ye Wuyo, who was unconscious and seemed to be dead, actually whimpered. Although he hadn't regained consciousness yet, he tapped his fingers and moved his body slightly. No worries. Dinsu widened his eyes. The other people in white coats, including the young man who had spoken rudely to Ye Wushang before, couldn't help but hold their breath. Little brother. Elder Tang was even more frightened, and asked in a trembling voice, "Your acupuncture technique is rarely seen in the world. May I ask what this set of needle techniques is called, and where it came from?" Actually, he had already made up his mind. But I dare not say it, and I dare not believe it. After all, he had never seen anyone use it, and even the written descriptions were only fragments left. In his mind, it is more like a legend. But today, thousands of needles from the heavenly ghost. Ye Wushang had a calm expression. After he finished speaking lightly, he twisted the silver needles one by one. Every time you twist it, a stream of spiritual energy will be infused into it, which will subtly penetrate into the acupuncture points. Oh my God! Get confirmation. Mr. Tang was breathing rapidly and was so excited that he almost couldn't stand. Tears welled up in my eyes instantly. I looked up at the sky, and couldn't help but say, "Master, did you see it? The set of acupuncture techniques you talked about many years ago, the world-shaking and soul-stirring acupuncture techniques, the heavenly ghost thousand needles, has finally appeared. You said it had been lost long ago, and even the written records were very few. I thought I would never see it again in this lifetime. But I never expected that this acupuncture technique would be revived in the world, and performed so brilliantly by a young man. Thank you, Master. It must be you who showed your power." In excitement, he suddenly knelt on the ground and kowtowed 3 times towards the sky. Then, with the help of the young man, he stood up and said respectfully to Ye Wushang, "Mr. Yi, I apologize for the offense just now. Tang Lao, are you saying that Wuyo can be saved?" Dinsu asked in surprise. Elder Tang nodded and laughed. "This set of acupuncture techniques can revive the dead and heal all the bones. Once the acupuncture method is introduced, any difficult and complicated disease can be cured. With Mr. Yi here, the child will definitely get better." The young man frowned and muttered, "Is it really that amazing? But it seems to me that it is just like that. I've been treated for so long, but it's still not healed." Ahem. The words were not finished. Accompanied by a cough, Ye Wuyo suddenly opened his eyes and woke up. "No worries." Dinsu was overjoyed and rushed over to hug her. The young man was speechless for a moment. It was unbelievable that he was actually cured by him. As for the others, they all opened their mouths wide, and their eyes changed when they looked at Ye Wushang. Before, I just thought he was stubborn and refused to give up. But now it seems that he not only has medical skills, but also is extremely skilled. "Mr. Yi, why doesn't your sister say anything and has no reaction at all?" Dinsu asked suspiciously. Ye Wushang walked forward, took a quick look, and said solemnly, "The acupuncture just now only cleared the acupuncture points in her body. But there is still blood clots in the brain, and I need to take some medicine to disperse it." Speaking of this, he seemed to have thought of something, and quickly took out a piece of paper and a pen, and started writing and drawing. A prescription was ready. He handed it directly to Elder Tang and said respectfully, "Elder Tang, please get some of these medicines for me and I will give you the money." When I searched my trouser pockets, there were only a few dollars in change left. Divorcing Lan Ruoshua would mean he would be left with nothing. Apart from the supreme card given by Lan and the key to the villa, he had nothing. Just when he was feeling awkward, Elder Tang took the prescription, took a quick look at it, and said with a smile, "Although these medicines are expensive and hard to find, I have my ways. Don't worry, Mr. Yi, I'll send someone to get the medicine right away." After saying, he handed it to the young man. The man, who had seen Ye Wushang's power, didn't waste any words and hurried out of the house with the prescription. Ye Wushang was extremely grateful and said, "Thank you, Mr. Tang. After my sister wakes up, she must take the medicine immediately if she wants to get better. These medicines you provided have been of great help to my sister's recovery. I am so grateful for your kindness. After my sister takes the medicine, you can keep this prescription for your records. Also, you can take the dregs from the medicine I'll make later and study them. I have no objection." These words shocked the whole audience. You know, Dr. Tang is a visiting expert at the Municipal People's Hospital. He has superb medical skills and is well known throughout the city. His contributions and achievements in the field of medicine have almost deified him, but now he has to use Ye Wushang's medicinal residues for research. If someone else said this, they would probably think that the person was being arrogant and contemptuous. But Ye Wushang's unparalleled acupuncture skills are enough to make any medical leader bow down to him. So, upon hearing that he could study Ye Wushang's prescriptions and medicinal residues, Mr. Tang was filled with gratitude and thanked him repeatedly. After a moment, he suddenly thought of something and asked, "But Mr. Yi, after these herbs are delivered, how do you plan to make the medicine? I'm afraid the facilities in this orphanage are not that complete. Do you need me to take it back to the hospital?" "No need." Ye Wushang shook his head, looked at Dean Su, and said, "Dean Su, please go to the kitchen to get a ceramic jar and 2 incense burners. I will use the herbs to make an elixir for my sister." Alchemy. Hearing this, Mr. Tang was shocked. "Mr. Yi, can you make pills?" Traditional Chinese medicine. The lowest level is to boil medicine. A slightly better option is to take some medicine. The highest level is alchemy. This is different from the mystery described in the novel. In traditional Chinese medicine alchemy, great attention is paid to the control of the temperature, the suitability of medicinal materials, and the quality of the finished product. Anyone who can achieve this must be a master who has reached the pinnacle of perfection. But this young man is so young. If I had seen his needlework skills with my own eyes, I probably wouldn't have believed it. It is true that after searching for a long time, I finally found it without any effort. It seems that Mr. Wang's illness can be cured. Chapter 24. Are you still a man? Lan Group, inside the president's office. Lan Ruoshue was working at her desk, making final preparations for bidding for the agency rights of the Yin family. Just now, she received a call from the Yin family, asking her to go to Panlong Mansion at 3 o'clock this afternoon to bid for the agency rights. This is the most important step after the group goes public. As long as we get the agency rights, we can stabilize the market and expand to the provincial capital. Bang! At this moment, the door was suddenly pushed open and Shu Wei rushed in anxiously. "Boss Lan, this is bad, something big has happened." Shu Wei was breathing heavily, obviously having run all the way here. Looking at her impetuous appearance, Lan Ruoshue frowned slightly, put down the pen, and said in a deep voice, "What happened? Why are you so flustered?" "Shu Wei, I've told you so many times to stay calm and not panic. If you have anything to say, speak slowly. It's Jialong Group." Shu Wei heaved a long sigh and said tremblingly, "Just now, they issued a bounty to the public to capture Ye Wushang. It provided a clear appearance and physical features, and said that whoever can provide clues will be rewarded with 1 million cash. Moreover, they also spread the word that anyone who dares to cover up or fails to report the crime will be against Jialong Group." "What?" Lan Ruoshue stood up and said with a serious expression, "How could this happen? Now all major companies and families have been notified and are helping to provide clues. You were married to that loser. If you find out his identity, he will definitely not let our group go. What I mean is, find Ye Wushang as soon as possible and hand him over to Jialong Group to avoid being implicated." Bang! Lan Ruoshue slammed the table and shouted, "What nonsense are you talking about? Although Wushang has changed, he is still my ex-husband after all. We were husband and wife. You want me to betray him? But Mr. Lan, people have spread the word that he and you are married, and it will be known sooner or later. If we know about this but don't report it, and then we are held accountable, I'm afraid even if the Sun family intervenes, it won't be able to stop us, not to mention the Lan family. Then I won't betray Wushang." Lan Ruoshue took a deep breath, pondered for a moment, and then ordered, "This is it, Shu Wei. Now, go prepare a generous gift for me. I need to go to Jialong Group in person." Shu Wei was stunned and asked in confusion, "Boss Lan, what are you doing?" "Of course I went to ask for help." Speaking of. She left her desk, put on her suit, and walked out the door with her handbag. By the way, Xu Wei, has Chuanji come out of the police station? Out. Xu Wei nodded subconsciously and said, Ms. Rushuang and Mr. Long picked him up this morning. Now. Call him immediately and tell him that I'm begging him to find a way to contact the chairman of Jelong Group. As long as Wang Jelong is willing to let Wushang go, my Lan family is willing to pay any price. Boss Lan, you've already divorced that loser, why are you still caring about him? Go now. Lan Ruoshua raised her voice and said solemnly, we are husband and wife, I don't want anything to happen to him. Just because he saved me last night, he deserves this. Inside the orphanage. Mr. Yi, these are the herbs written in your prescription. I have prepared them all for you. The young man bought the herbs as ordered and said respectfully, I'm afraid it's not enough, so I specially prepared 2 portions of each herb. If you need anything else, just let me know and I'll do my best. Before Ye Wuyo woke up, he felt that Ye Wushang was just a boastful, arrogant guy. But as Ye Wuyo woke up, especially his unique acupuncture skills, it was so dazzling that people were dazzled. He has studied Chinese medicine under Mr. Tang for many years and was fortunate enough to have seen him save lives with acupuncture. But when it comes to the proficiency and precision of acupuncture, the two are completely incomparable. Now, he was sincerely convinced by Ye Wuxin and would not dare to disobey any of his orders. Thank you. Ye Wushang nodded in greeting. Holding the ceramic pot and tripod prepared by President Su. First build it, then light the fire, and then cut the herbs one by one in order and pour them in. Mr. Tang, please take a good look. Ye Wushang stirred the herbs and carefully introduced, because of the limited equipment, this alchemy seems to be similar to boiling medicine. But the difference is that when throwing the herbs, you must move forward step by step with the weight of the herbs. Also, although the ingredients of the medicine are the same, the order in which they are added determines the quality of the medicine. Finally, you need to know when to heat it. When it's time to heat it, use it. When it's time to heat it, you must control it right away. Stir first, then weigh, repeat this process over and over again. Each time, the force should be balanced, not too much or too little, and it must be consistent. He spoke carefully. Mr. Tang also listened carefully. Even the bystanders were deeply attracted. After half an hour, I had a feeling that listening to your talk is better than reading for 10 years. Sizzle. As Ye Wushang opened the lid, the medicine juice swirled and a rich medicinal aroma, like delicious food, wafted towards his face. He was not showing off, but really wanted to thank Mr. Tang. Since he has spent a lot of money to prepare medicinal materials for himself, I must make the best use of the prescription left to him. Otherwise, if you give things without knowing the method, it's like having a mountain of gold and silver but not knowing where to spend it. It smells so good. Mr. Tang took a deep breath, his face full of joy. He walked forward and looked at the black pills that slowly solidified after the juice dried up, and said in shock, Mr. Yi, this really opened my eyes. A pot of boiling water, under your control, slowly dries up and finally forms a pill, which looks like. This is called Wushua pills. It can activate tendons and bones, and clear blood stasis. It has a very good therapeutic effect on the underlying disease. It can also prolong life and enhance immunity. Speaking of. Ye Wushang took out the 5 pills and handed 3 to Tang Lao. Tang Lao, please keep these 3. Consider them as my thanks for providing you with the silver needles and herbs. Whether you take them yourself or others, the effect will be very good. Thank you, Mr. Yi. I am very grateful. Mr. Tang happily put the pills into his pocket. Ding ling ling. Just then, the cell phone rang suddenly. When he saw the caller ID, his expression became serious. Xu Wei. What was she calling for? Could it be that something happened to Lan Ruoshua? Although they have divorced and are like strangers. But he was still moved by the fact that she stood up to protect herself last night and confronted the people from Jelong Group. After some hesitation, he answered the phone. Hello. What are you saying? You're such a troublemaker. You're divorced and you're still causing trouble for Mr. Lan. How disgusting. Before he could open his mouth, he heard Xu Wei's scolding from the other end of the phone. Ye Wushang's face darkened and he whispered, Speak human language, why are you cursing here? Why, you offended someone and asked Boss Lan to clean up your mess, and I can't even scold you a few times. If you have the ability, go and solve it yourself. Why do you have to drag Boss Lan into this? I'm warning you, if anything happens to Mr. Lan, I will never forgive you. Heard. Ye Wushang was feeling uneasy and had a bad feeling. What are you talking about? Can you please make it clear? Just now, Boss Lan went to Jielong Group to ask Wang Jielong for help. Shu Wei said angrily, just because Wang Jielong wanted to deal with you and issued a bounty, she was afraid that something might happen to you, so she went to ask him for help. Maybe he has already met him by now. Everyone knows that Wang Jielong is a drinker, whore and gambler, and has all the 5 vices. Letting President Lan go talk to this kind of scumbag is like walking into a tiger's mouth, isn't it? You're still a man, but you let your ex-wife clean up your mess. Why don't you just die, you coward? Beep. Before I could ask further questions, the other party hung up the phone angrily. Ye Wushang clenched his cell phone and gritted his teeth. Didn't Lan Ruoshua tell her not to worry about it? Why did you go to Wang Jielong to beg for mercy? Mr. Yi, what's wrong? Are you in any trouble? Seeing Ye Wushang's serious expression, old Tang couldn't help but ask. Fine. Ye Wushang took a deep breath, pondered for a moment, and then handed the other 2 pills to Elder Tang again. Elder Tang, please feed my sister 1 pill every 6 hours. Her body is still in the process of adapting. It will take at least 12 hours for her to fully recover. Okay, no problem. Mr. Tang took the pill and patted his chest to assure, I will not go anywhere today. I will just stay with your sister. But if possible, I have a favor to ask. Mr. Tang. Ye Wushang interrupted and said solemnly, if you have anything to say, wait until I come back and talk about it. I'm leaving my sister in your care. Please take good care of her. After saying. Ye Wushang turned around and left the room, hailed a taxi at the door, and headed straight for Jielong Group. Chapter 25. You have to serve me well. Jielong Group. A famous enterprise in Beijing and Wuhan, ranked among the top 3 of the top 10 enterprises. Although the Wang family does not belong to a school of thought, its status is extremely important and it has deep connections in the political, business and military circles. Located in the city center, this stand-alone skyscraper is said to have been specially approved by the Urban Renewal Authority, which is enough to show the weight of Jielong Group in Beijing and Wuhan. Half an hour later, Ye Wushang took a taxi here. Before he could even walk through the gate, he was stopped by 2 security guards. Stop, what are you doing? The security guard had a face full of flesh and stared at Ye Wushang with an unfriendly look. Ye Wushang's face was stern and he said indifferently, looking for your president, Wang Jielong. The fat security guard raised his eyebrows, looked at the other person, and said with a curled lip, who are you? Do you think you can see our president whenever you want? I am Ye Wushang. That's the person your president has issued a bounty for. Upon hearing this, the 2 security guards looked at each other in disbelief. You kid, are you the loser who ruined our CEO's business? You are so brave, actually. Go away. Ye Wushang had no intention of talking nonsense with them. According to the time calculation, Lan Ruoshua should have met Wang Jielong by now. Everyone knows that this man is greedy for beauty, especially a stunning beauty like Lan Ruoshua,